Taking off in 5, 4, 3, 2. That's how you time it, Eddie. That's how you fucking time it. Right? Yo. It's your boy. Tio's, you know.
It's your boy. 100 grand. Addy Play. Mr. Addy Play.
Did you come up with that literally?
No, actually, I did not. That was actually you. It was in one of the episodes I was texting in, and you were like, yes, that's my man, 100 grand. And then you like paused for a second. You're like, yeah, that was weird.
It was probably the cadence, because usually you say that's my man 100 grand, like but I probably like fucked up the cadence of
No, it sounded real cool when you did it.
And then
you fucked it up afterwards. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was like pumping my fists and everything, and then it was
why are you fist pumping?
Because I'm European, that's why.
You weren't watching soccer, Addy. You were just
watching Jersey Shore. That's what I was doing.
Fair enough. What's going on, man? Long time since me and you've been in the hot seat.
The hot seat. Yeah, that's right. I've been behind the camera primarily.
Yeah. Which do you enjoy better? No, that was stupid. I didn't know I said it that way. Yeah.
You're always fucking with my shit.
Which do you enjoy?
Definitely behind the camera, man, because then I can listen to your guys' banter and then just chime in.
Whenever you feel.
Now that I have a proper mic and a proper, camera and everything, like people can hear me. I was actually looking up it. Yeah,
it was depressing.
It was. Man. Remember the first time we had a mic on me? That shit was all staticky.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
We have.
We've come a long
Slightly.
way. Slightly, yeah. Not a long way at all. Yeah, man, what's going on with you? What's happening? What's new?
Man, I am sun-kissed. I am burnt, but I had a good weekend, man.
Did you from what? Like soccer or some shit?
No. Went out so it was Father's Day, so I hung out with my older brother and nephews and my little brother.
Yeah.
It was good, man. We were out playing baseball. Yo, man, the 30s are not kind to your body if you don't work out.
Hey, man.
Because I am like...
Who the fuck are you telling?
You work out, though, man. I do nothing. Dude, my fingers work. That's it.
Man. And honestly, it's going to sound like bullshit, but tomorrow is going to be like my first day back at the gym. A number of things have happened to keep me away. Just one, schedule has just been all over the fucking place lately. But then two, I popped my back tire on my bike, which I usually take to the gym.
Okay.
It's usually how I get to and from.
A little workout, before you get to the gym.
That's what I like. I like to do a little cardio, and then I get on the
the treadmill. Stairmaster.
Jesus Christ, how did I forget that?
That's double cardio right there.
So that's what I do. I try to double up, right?
Oh shit, that's triple because you got to ride back too.
Yeah, don't psych me out here.
That's why you had that cheesesteak tonight. You're like, I got to get there tomorrow. That's exactly what it was. You're like, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. Let me get some
cheat day.
Yeah, cheat day with that protein, carbo load.
Cheat day for me. No, so I usually do a little cardio, and then I hit the weights. And that's been my routine for the past, like, let's say, solid, like, not year, maybe a little less than a year as I've been doing that, right? These past few fucking weeks, man, I have fallen off the wagon hard. And it's just because too much shit is going on, man. And like the first thing that goes out is like, because I usually like to go early in the morning. I hate going like at night. I'm lazy at night. Like I just don't, my brain doesn't work quite well at night. So I don't like usually whenever I'm in the middle of writing something, usually don't do it in the morning. Usually do it at night. And the same goes for working out. Is I just get lazy, I don't feel like carrying shit. I'm like, let me get that extra set in. It's like, nah, let me just go home,
Yeah, question, man, before you get any further.
Yeah.
Have you worked out high?
No.
Oh, you gotta try, man.
No.
Yo, it's a different experience,
drop
man.
a weight on my leg or some shit?
No, you're not gonna drop a...
Dude, you look like a fucking stoner right now. Look at you. Come on, bro.
It's not gonna happen,
Come on, bro.
Look, you already get a high from working out.
Yeah.
This just boosted, man.
Nah,
I'm telling you, try it, man. Try it.
I'd be tripping, dude.
One day.
I'd just be like, yo, is that dude staring at me? And
he probably is. He probably is. And you noticed because you were high.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
man.
a different zone, man.
Yeah, I don't want to freak out at the gym because I have a tendency to freak out whenever I get high, dude. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but on the real, man, the 30s suck.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm handicapped as it is. Like, I can't chase down a fly ball anymore since high school. It's not happening. I caught like 3, so I was proud of myself.
Yeah, you just gotta extend that. You gotta.
So I actually took a dive on one of them,
and
everybody runs over to me. I'm like, guys, like it's not that bad. Like I know how to dive if I have to.
Yeah. In case of emergency,
I've got insurance. Moving to France is universal. If anything happens here, I'm good. You know.
Well, yeah, you got to move there first. You're not quite there yet. Yeah, do they deal with pre-existings?
Actually, they do. I verified.
Fair enough,
I did, man.
enough.
I did my research.
Yeah,
Sober, not high. I did my research.
Well, there you go. You can't do everything high.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I've been meaning to get back to the gym, man. But it's been, what's weird about my weeks, of late is that at the beginning, like I feel like half the week is over at the beginning of the week. Like, so literally like it's Monday and I've already feel like I've had 4 days in a row. Like there's just, I'm going places, doing things, running around here, running around there. Got to get back, got to get set for the show. Got to do this, got to do that. And it's just like, fuck, dude. Is
and
this
like
what
in your early
adulting is?
20s and like, mid 20s, that was fine. You could
no
party all
responsibilities.
weekend. Like
Hey,
you could like triple bar hop. Like you be fine, man.
Hey, bruh. Hey. Shout out to the non-responsibility crowd.
Yeah, seriously,
people who
man,
don't have shit to fucking worry about. You don't know how fucking lucky. Yikes. Negative. That guy has a lot of things to worry about. Hey, shout out to Rain too. By the way, he'll be back next week. He's just he's doing his own thing.
He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy doing shit. But yeah, like in your 20s, man, you don't really realize how fucking good you have it, man. And I know every decade says this, right? So if you're in your 20s, you're like looking at your teens, you don't know how good you guys have it. If you're in your 30s, you're looking at the 20s, like, you don't know how good you guys have it.
Yeah, there's
in
no
40s,
fucking way
in the
somebody in
30s.
the 40s is saying the 30s
100%.
were no way.
100%.
No
What are you
way.
crazy?
Because if I was in my 40s, I'd be like, all right, 20 some more years until SSI.
No.
That's where I'm at. Retirement. That's how I'm looking at that.
You have the confidence of somebody who is leaving America. Exactly.
exactly.
That's how you sound. SSI, that is not going to be the thing by the time I reach
We'll see.
get of age.
It's a pyramid scheme, and they'll just move money from one place to the other.
Well, hopefully. Yeah. Just steal it from my kids and give it to me. That's essentially what I want. No, but people in like it's always like the decades too. It's like as soon as you hit your 40s, you're like, oh man, these 30-year-olds, they don't know how good they. And so what I'm trying to get into the habit of doing is just appreciating the fucking age that I'm actually in, dude. If I am alive and am somewhat able-bodied, right? Like I'm fucking good. All right, I'm fucking good because I could have it tremendously worse. And I just think back to my life, man. If certain things went different ways, and I'm not even just talking about like physically, but if like certain scenarios went different ways, life might not look like it does right now.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you, man. Because that day out with my brothers and nephews and just
it's a good vibe.
Yeah,
dude.
man. Like it's different now. Like because it's like now you're like like I'm an uncle. Like I'm a little older. Like my brother's kind of like a hard ass on him, so I'm like the nice uncle. I'm like, hey, it's okay, buddy. Like you'll catch the next one. Like it's nice. It's a different vibe, man.
Yeah, dude. Life is every now and then, and I know not everything's gonna be perfect, right? But sometimes you really do have to like just like look around, and I understand that. I'm saying that kind of from a place of somewhat privilege, right? Like that some of the things that I'm doing and getting into, other people can't necessarily like, and other people are in tough spots, But I'm if as a person who's been in some tough spots, I can reflect and be like, fuck, glad I'm not there, you know? And hearing other people's stories and seeing their stories and shit.
Yeah. Comes with a little bit of responsibility too, because like you've lived it, and now when you see somebody else,
you gotta
build.
Because
like, look, after we had our baseball game, like we all went out to Starbucks and we sat there and we talked to my younger brother just about like his future plans and helping him figure out like budgeting, how to help him with his credit. He's thinking like long term now. He's at that age where it's like, all right, well, I can't keep working like 60 hours a week, partying all weekend, eating out every single day, and then wondering what the hell happened to my 60 hours of income.
That is a nice realization.
He pulled up his bank statement. I was like, yeah, man, it says dining, alcohol, dining.
As somebody who's currently still struggling with that, exactly. I would like to. My heart goes out to your brother in that case, because man, it's tough. I remember quick story. My brother one time this is like maybe like a year or two after I first got like my first job, right? So I was like maybe like 15 or 16 at the time. And
hold on. What was your first job?
Bagel bin. I worked at a bagel shop.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It was fucking dope.
Loved it. Great cookie for me.
Right down the street from the school, So everybody like after school.
No, you were in Columbia.
I was in Columbia.
Woodlawn.
Whoa.
Wait, hold on. You didn't live when I met you. You didn't live too far from Woodlawn, so I just jumped to conclusions. But I should have known.
That's after I was paying bills.
That's
after I was paying bills, dude. All right, calm down.
Ain't nothing wrong with Woodlawn, man. They got a good football team.
Hey, fair enough. They
beat our ass.
Hey, shout out to Woodlawn. My brother, he picks me up from work, right? And before he picked me up, I went what I would call shopping for food. So he picks me up. He sees, I'm carrying these bags, and he sees what's in the bags, and then he gets hot. He gets mad. He's big mad. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Fucking buying junk food. That's all you get. You got sodas. You got fucking I don't really drink sodas, but juices and fucking chips and
because your biweekly check was only like $137.
No. I was making a little.
You were making money selling bagels.
I was making some change. I was making some change. So I bought all this stuff. And inflation isn't necessarily what it is now. So the dollar went a little further back then. I bought all this stuff, and I could not conceive of why he was mad. I'm like, I worked for my money. I bought this food with my money. Why the fuck are you mad, guy? And it's all these years later where I'm like, he was right then a motherfucker. He was so fucking right. Yeah. I was a piece of shit for buying all that stuff. All this fucking terrible
he lived
fucking
it, man. He lived it too, and he
like
knows
that.
it now,
Yeah.
You got to respond. With great
shout
power,
out to my
man.
brother, man.
Great power.
Yeah, man. Comes fucking, less junk food, I guess.
Comes financial responsibility.
Not dining out every night. Yo, dude, let's get to some movie shit. Yeah. Let's talk about some this week, next week. Let's talk about what's coming out this week. Beavis and Butthead Do America. We talked about it last week a little bit. Cool, I suppose. If you're still into Beavis and Butthead, I suppose that'll.
As much as I am into King of the Hill, which is not a lot.
I don't know. King of the Hill was a crispy little show.
Back then, yeah.
It's a crispy little show.
I mean, actually, you know what?
I still fuck with King of the Hill.
I went back to it not too long ago on Hulu, and I was like, you know what? It holds. Mm-hmm. All the same shit's applicable.
And that's what's so amazing, man, about some of these shows that took place, years, decades ago, right? Is a lot of it's still fucking applicable. Like I remember watching, I talked about it on the podcast when I watched it. I remember watching RoboCop and thinking, what the fuck?
Original RoboCop, right?
The first RoboCop. Well, actually, honestly, number 3, excluding that a little bit, but even still kind of including that a little bit. Yeah. But 1 and 2, maybe more so 1 than 2, super fucking valid in terms of corporations and how they fucking move, the media and how they move. Yo, I'm like, this shit is like fucking Nostradamus over here. Yeah. It's like we're fucking just watch. I'm like, this took place in 2021. Like this was last year. Yo, so shout out to fucking old content that you go back and you watch and you're like, this shit was predicting some shit. Beavis and Butthead do the universe. I'm gonna watch that just because I'm saying I don't want to watch it. I'm gonna watch it just so I can be proven right.
I will say if they stick to the original Beavis and Butthead, how they did it. Yeah. If they don't try to modernize it in any sort of weird way.
How do you mean?
From everything from the aesthetics of the look, like, what show? SpongeBob. Like I fucked with SpongeBob back in the day. Sure. Surprisingly, it was way more political, way more social than you would even think.
All of this shit was like I've gone back and watched Rugrats. Though?
Have you seen SpongeBob lately? That shit looks weird and creepy as fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the digitalized version. Like they no longer like hand draw the characters or anything like that. Yeah, it looks.
I thought it was
weird,
just like the movies
man.
and shit.
No, I turned on Nickelodeon the other day.
That's what they did for the Rugrats.
They did, later on. Yep.
Yeah. The newer Rugrats version is like
it looks
3D
weird,
looking shit. Yeah,
man.
Looks strange. But I've been going back and watching the original Rugrats. Yeah, that shit still slaps.
Have you ever watched Rugrats All Grown Up?
I didn't watch it when it first came out, and I never plan to because fuck that.
Do it, man. Do it. It's hilarious just because of the shit that they put themselves in. Like when they were babies, now it's like more like teenage shit.
Yeah.
But you will relate to it. Like it's not like a little kids show. Like you will absolutely relate to it.
No, the original Rugrats was definitely like a little kids show, but it definitely like had, just like you were saying, like some of the jokes and shit like that kind of flew.
Oh shit, they had key parties, man, and in one of the episodes.
Key parties? Like cocaine parties?
What Well, I don't know what kind of key party you've been to,
He's on
but
keys.
key party, yeah.
Move keys.
Nah, hell no, man. No, come on now. Nah,
Cocaína.
No. We're not Pablo Escobar over here, the Sinaloa cartel.
Narcos.
Where the fuck's Rain needs to be here for that conversation. No, it's a key party, man. You come with your woman, you put it in a bowl, your keys, and at the end of the night, you take a key and whoever
that episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've gotten
as a kid, you didn't think of it like that.
They were just I guess they just fucking.
They did that shit in The Grinch too. In the beginning when the Grinch is the Jim Carrey Grinch. Yeah, they did that too. Like in the beginning of the show, they have a key party as the Grinch is being flown. And yeah, you don't realize that shit, man.
Strange. Also coming out this week, Elvis. We already talked about that last week.
Yeah. Nah,
we're not really gonna.
I mean, I consider him a thief.
Yikes. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong, my friend.
But that's the music industry, so it's like
exactly. How much can you really hate him? Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I'm definitely going to try to go watch that. It looks interesting. Looks weird. Mm-hmm. I'm into it. It's an A24 project. I'm down. This week, Minions: The Rise of Gru. Or I'm sorry. Next week, Minions: The Rise of Gru, which I haven't seen any fucking. Usually, you see all this advertisement for whenever they come out with these.
I've been seeing them.
I have not, dude. I haven't seen one commercial. I haven't seen one fucking.
I've seen them on the TLC channels and shit like that when I'm watching that stuff. Yeah.
Yikes! You watch TLC?
Hell yeah, man. I love watching those religious people come to the realization that religion is just fucked up, man. I love that shit.
You can't have Addy on the podcast without him railing against religion.
I can't help it, man.
Christ. All right.
That's why I was brought to this
Ironically enough. Let's jump into some headlines. Bradley Cooper got mocked by a director, and he's still pretty fucking bitter about it, dude.
I would be too.
Yeah.
You keep getting passed up for you get the noms, but that's about it,
dude.
I'll be bitter too.
Well, here's the thing, dude. It's interesting, right? What we can't let go of in our past, and how we're all just whatever the bad shit that happened to us, and I guess the good shit is in there too, but mostly just the bad shit, right? Mm-hmm. We never can really fucking get past it.
Yeah, of
right?
course. I mean, it's human nature.
Which is why is that
why is
fucking
it?
human nature?
Knows?
Jeez, let's have a really existential conversation.
Yeah, right.
About the
tie it into Bradley Cooper.
the cesspool that is human nature. Let me read a little bit about this. Bradley Cooper revealed on a recent podcast, or a recent episode of the Smart Less podcast, that a famous director once mocked him for having 7 career Oscar nominations. The incident occurred at a party during Cooper's A Star Is Born. Damn. That's fucked up.
On that one too, because he spearheaded that whole project.
That's his project.
Yeah,
he fucking crushed, and he crushed it too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The music drama boosted Cooper's Oscar nomination haul from 3 acting noms and a Best Picture nom as a producer on American Sniper to 7 actor, original screenplay, and a Best Picture for A Star Is Born. So yeah, dude. And he goes on to say here. So the director told Cooper, "What world are we living in where you have 7 nominations and she's only got 3?" And I guess he's talking about a famous actress. I guess he doesn't name who the actress is.
No, but he also mentioned that another actress came up to him too. Was it more or less the same exact thing?
Yeah, what the fuck is up with people?
Yeah,
is he a dick to people? Is that why people feel comfortable going up to him and saying shit like this?
I can't see it, though. I
gotta see it a little bit.
Really?
He
I mean, it might be an ego, but I don't know if he's a dick. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, puts on kind of a nice face, but he's a dick, man.
How do you know?
I mean, just
defending The Rock.
Rain would be defending The Rock.
I have no reason to defend The Rock.
No. In some interviews that I've seen, some spot, on the street kind of stuff. Yeah, he's been a little bit of a dick.
What is he? Give me a flavor. What is he?
All right. One very specific thing was on that show Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher. Mm-hmm. Yo, he was taking it out on one of the tiny little assistants for fucking something up because she was in it in it with the punk crew and everything, and he was assuming that she was doing something to sabotage him, and even though she's that tiny little girl, he's going crazy mad at her.
I mean,
I mean, you know, when you get the money and your wealth. No, fuck that shit.
No. But it's like, okay, even if she is a tiny girl, she's fucking something up. You gotta, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you gotta be a dick about it, but you know.
Exactly.
Just because she's
you don't gotta be a dick about it.
Just because she's quote like, okay, so what if if it was like another dude that looked like The Rock? It'd be like perfectly fine for him to.
Yeah, I'd like to see that actually.
This is the shit I'm talking about.
It'd be him and Jason Statham on top of that garage again, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not like intimidating people, you know, if he's just like, yo, you're fucking up. You know, I was watching, and I'm gonna get completely off track here, but I was watching this documentary, or I guess it was a documentary. I'm not sure exactly what to call it. It was like basically like a diary of when Sylvester Stallone made the second to last Rambo movie.
Right.
He was just basically just giving kind of a play-by-play of each day of production. It was kind of cool, right? Terrible movie, right? Terrible, awful movie, right? Yeah. But it was cool seeing sort of all the behind-the-scenes shit, and you got to see sort of how it was. And every now and then, he'd fucking act like a dick, right? Like, he'd like say something or be impatient or whatever the case is. Dude, like, I feel like I'm not sitting here making excuses for people, especially in Hollywood, for being assholes, right? Because that's like that's a cliche thing, right? Of, you know, if you're a person in Hollywood, you're used to just yelling at people and being a general asshole, right? But I would, and I recently had this conversation with some people, is that like the industry sort of breeds it because it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure going on all the fucking time, dude, where shit's got to get done, and it's got to get done now. Otherwise, a lot of money is going to be wasted, and a lot of people are going to be unhappy if we don't get this shit right here, right now. So if I look at you and you're fucking shit up, you know, and I know you're fucking shit up, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that you should, like, and how many... Point an example, right? Point an example. Look at you. When it's turned into you, now
I was a different person back then. I was a different person back then. Like, we don't need to go into that, man.
Yo, I've grown. The Rock was like, I was a different person 2 weeks ago.
You know, he wasn't making that kind of money back then. You know, that's what it is.
Oh shit, I was pre Fast and Furious probably. But I remember we were on a project, and it was very late at night, and we're all tired.
Talk about Addy. No.
We were all tired, all overworked, you know. And here comes Addy just snapping at me. Boy, I had to pull you aside. Like, Addy, hold on here now. Let's dial this back in. You know what I mean?
I don't think about that night anymore. That was a one-time thing. Never happened again.
Dude, you forget we worked together on a number of different things, man. And
it's called creative differences, all right? That's all it was.
Yeah, you know? The Rock said that
I'm a nice guy, though.
The Rock said that's creative differences, dude. Is why he's yelling at this little assistant. But anyways, back to the fucking Bradley Cooper shit. So you know, Bradley basically responds like, "Yo, bro," I'm like, "Yo, you're such an asshole," you know. And he said, "I would never fucking forget that. Go fuck yourself." And you know, he's right, man. Like, you can't, like, I feel like unless somebody's like, even if it's your friend, people have to be sensitive to like saying shit like that, because it's like, yo, you're fucking like, you don't know how much I harbor that shit, especially if on something so public, right? Yeah, it's different if like we're like best friends and this is some shit that like nobody else really like knows about or like, or maybe like few people know about or whatever, and we can kind of just like, yo, ain't that shit crazy? Yo, what the fuck's going on here? But even this is like, it's not even like a joke. He's just basically saying, hey, this other person's better than you, and they've only been nominated such and such times. You've got 7. That's a joke. And it's just like, bitch, I'll take you outside right now and curb stomp the shit out of you. Get the fuck out of my face.
Yo, man, it's fucked up because like, imagine this, like, all right, so we had a successful, you know, soccer season last year. We moved up in the division and everything. Imagine if that happens the next 3 years, but each time we get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, and you come up to me like, "Yo, man, you keep getting your team up there, but you fucking suck in the playoffs."
Yo, how has this other team not been there? Like, what?
Like,
wait, hold on, chill out.
You talking to me? I'm not a fighter, but I'll hit you with my bum leg. You know?
Addy said, "I'll go on Reddit later." Post
exactly. Ask me anything, just not about Tunde.
Fuck that guy. Yeah, man. So you know, I'm with Bradley here, man. I think I agree. I think I think people can get a little reckless, especially like when you don't expect. And I think that's why a lot of like powerful people say shit, because they don't expect really like any blowback, because they're kind of
never had it. Yeah.
I don't know if they've never had it, but they're in positions where it's just like nobody's gonna talk shit to me.
Or it's their thing and they're amongst their people. It's like when, you know, like when somebody who's like a borderline racist and he's like cool with you and he's like, yeah, but how about that N-word over there?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. It's like, you're really not my people's now.
At that point, there's no words.
Yeah,
no words.
exactly.
We're not having
I
words.
wonder who this director was, though, man. Like, who do you think it was? A well-known, like, was it Spielberg?
I don't know why I immediately thought of Quentin Tarantino.
I could see it.
I don't know why.
You could see it.
I just feel like
because you can see it.
To just blurt out something like that, like, man, that sucks. And I have no basis for that. He seems like a perfectly, more or less well-meaning dude. Like I have no basis for that, but for whatever reason, just in my mind when I was picturing,
it's that face, man. It's
it
like,
really is.
It's like that Italian,
it's like an
New York
looking
like,
face, where it's just like you just know this motherfucker's just gonna say some shit that's just gonna be some.
Yeah, watch it actually be Quentin when it comes out later.
That's hilarious. Dude. My man Tom Hanks, we were just talking about, Rain was just talking about it like last week or the week before, and how he's not like, how he probably is like a dick, right? So here comes fucking Tom Hanks, you know, and look, before we even say anything, let's just fucking watch this shit. Let's just. Oh shit, hold on.
You ain't got it queued up?
Yeah, I do got it queued up.
I actually haven't seen the clip, I just read the story.
Pressed the wrong button. There we go. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Bump you a little bit, little bump. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's where everything goes wrong.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, my man.
Oh shit.
My man.
Oh shit.
Knock it over my wife.
My wife.
Yo, look at that little kid.
Yo, fam.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to do the play-by-play here.
Oh man.
We're gonna have to.
He's
do
not
the
watching
play-by-play.
Castaway anymore.
No, he's definitely not.
No.
Yeah. He's definitely looking at big like motherfucker.
Yo, I need like superstar protection insurance.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch this play by play. We're gonna go blow by blow here. Okay. So here look. I'm gonna at the end of this we're gonna bang the gavel, decide who's right, who's wrong here. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So here we have Tom coming out. Okay, bumps the dude. He's already pissed at that.
Yeah.
He's already mad at that. He's already like, well, why the fuck do I have to like walk around you, dude? Like, just you see me coming. Just fucking get to the side, right? And it's clearly like paparazzi a little bit, some random people a little bit. Okay, everything's kind of cool. You know, I already bumped the dude. Okay, it's all good. I bumped him. All right, I know I could take that. Right. Here's where things go a little sideways. Okay, so I'm gonna back it up here. I'm gonna back. Look at my man right here. Look at him. Getting the selfie right. He thinks everything's good.
You can see Tom's face right there. He's like, man, I do not want to deal with this shit tonight.
Look, but he's still keeping it cool.
He's keeping it cool.
He's still keeping it cool.
But if you see that face though, and you're taking that selfie, you should know.
You should know. But we're in the generation where people don't give a fuck. Right?
Of course not.
Look happy.
I mean, look at that little kid. Yeah, he's not from Tom's generation.
Who are you to deny me my selfie? Right? Okay, everything's good. Now, okay. Here's the interesting part. Look at the sequence of events here. Right. I'm gonna show you this. Right. Here's why Tom Hanks is a shrewd individual, right? Not only is he one of the, he's richer beyond belief, right? Shrewd this guy is. And I'll explain.
Father of Chet. You know, keep that in mind.
Okay. We can't control everything, okay? We can't always control every aspect of our lives, okay? So here, watch this closely. Watch this very closely. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to ask you what you just saw. What did you just see?
I mean, I saw a lady not keeping up pace.
Whoa.
That's all I see.
Christ. I don't know
don't
why.
look down when everybody's rushing.
Look, I don't even know if this makes sense in this context. That sounded just sexist. I don't know why.
What you mean? What you mean?
What you mean?
We're walking here.
I'm
walking. Like, keep moving. What the hell are you stopping? Like, she's at fault.
Okay, Bronx Addy.
$100 grand.
No. That's Jesus Christ. That's not what I saw. You know what I saw here? Here's what I saw. Let's back this up a bit. Let's keep it going. Okay, she went to go fix on her hair. She went to go. Oh God, I gotta.
Not the time for it. Not the time,
bitch. I work on my own time. Okay,
this is dangerous shit, man. People get killed over this kind of stuff.
Okay, so in all seriousness, so this look at who actually bumps her, right?
Yeah, the black guy.
Exactly. Watch what Tom Hanks does. Here's why he's such a shrewd individual. Look at this. Look at what Tom does.
Hey, he realizes it's the black guy.
He realizes it's the black guy. Who is he looking at though? Who is he actually looking at?
Well, first of all, he's trying not to make contact with the black guy. He's like, he sees him, and then he's like, wait a second, hold up. Is there somebody behind you, man? Is there some? All right, you little kid right there.
Tom Hanks, even in his most pissed off state, knows I am not going to be caught on camera.
He's got a fitted cap on. I don't want to.
No, forget it being dangerous to him. Even though that was ever so racist, but
it wasn't
ever so racist. But forget all that. No, he just
he's
knows.
still looking past him right here.
He just knows. I'm not going to be fucking caught on camera yelling into a black guy's face. Get the fuck back. I'm shrewd.
Yeah.
Shrewd. At one time, for my man Hanks. They call him Hanks.
Yeah, this would be like we're doing the show tonight, and I'm talking to you, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that one guy, over there, I mean, I don't know who.
Yeah, just like I'm not gonna. Who's that over there? Who's that in the back right there? Like, motherfucker, you know, look at that. You were looking at him as he was running into your wife, and you try to pretend like he's not the one. Go ahead, Tom.
He's like making a generalization. He's like, everybody back up
Tom's
because
like,
I saw the black guy.
Juneteenth is coming up. All
yeah, right.
I am not going to be caught out here yelling at some black dude's face. Look at him. Still looking at some. Who are you staring at right now, Tom?
Yeah, it's definitely not him. It's definitely not him.
Who ran into your wife is literally standing right in front of him.
Look at his bodyguard. He's like, this guy's not right.
Let's just keep it pushing, Tom. Let's keep it pushing. Yo, that shit's so. Now,
my God, man. That's fucked up.
But I feel sorry for this kid because Tom's like staring at this kid, right? This is
first of all, this kid had some ill intention. You know why?
Yeah. Look at his chin. Look at the chin placement.
Look at his shirt. He was ready to let me see Triple H that motherfucker. Like he was gonna what's Triple H's move? The pedigree. He was about to pedigree that motherfucker. You see that, man?
Yo,
he was about to do it.
Yo, this kid looks.
Just gonna give him the people's elbow,
he's got on the big glasses. He's got on the big ass shirt for no reason. Look at the chin placement, the neck. The neck is out there. So he's on defense.
He's clenching the teeth, man.
On defense right now, right? Because he knows Tom Hanks is yelling in my face to get the fuck back, and I didn't do the shit. I didn't even do the shit. Even though he did contribute.
I've been in these situations though, man. I really have. I have
where
somebody no, not a celebrity, but like somebody gets bumped. And then like I'm the guy. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, very unfortunate for this kid, man. I feel bad, man. He's definitely gonna go post about this on Reddit later. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There's gonna be an Ask Me Anything, a mighty asshole here, you know.
Or 4chan, even worse. I don't know.
Oh no, don't have him go on there because
I'm not gonna have him go on there. I'm just saying I don't know. This looks like
look, leave Elijah alone, man. He's had a hard life. I don't know.
Look at the chin. Look,
man, the lips coming out and everything.
For everybody who's just listening to this, not watching us on YouTube, check us out on YouTube if you're just listening to the podcast. Look, this kid. So he's a white kid with a buzz cut. He's got on the way too big for his face frames, the glasses, and his neck is literally like it looks like
tiny kid too, skinny as
it looks like a centipede. Like that. It
really does.
It looks like a fucking centipede, and he's got the chin that's just like fucking like. I can't believe that Tom Hanks is yelling at me right now. I feel bad for this kid.
Yo, is that his like mom in front of him? Like
I don't fucking know who that is. I don't know. Where's she got on Gucci? What is that?
See, what he needed to do is like that pretty girl in the background. Like just sit your ass over there with her.
Yeah, I don't think
photo with Tom Hanks for it. There's a cute girl right there.
I don't think. That doesn't seem like that's gonna work out here. After Tom Hanks yells at you, I don't think you can. What's your comeback?
No, man, I would go up there and be like, "Hey, Tom Hanks yelled at me." That's right.
Yeah. You try that, Eddie. Yeah,
I will.
I'm sure. Your game is insufficient.
I was basically Wilson in that. Come on, man. That scenario. Right
all right, you've now ruined this entire segment for me.
No, but look. But if you watch that from the beginning, though, they are rushing. They're trying to get to their car quickly, and that's what happens. Like you don't fix your hair, you don't look down at your shoes.
You're trying to blame Rita Wilson is I believe her
whoever name. It is. Keep moving. Get to the car, then fix your hair.
No. Out of everybody here, who the fuck is the person who everybody
I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying keep moving.
Why?
Why are you stopping?
I can do whatever the fuck I want.
I know you can.
This is America. Is this not America?
And you deal with the consequences.
The consequences of what?
A black man bumping into you.
Jesus, all right. You said that aggressively. That was aggressive.
It's what happened.
Why did it have to be the black man?
Because he's black.
You made eye contact with me. I felt very uncomfortable.
Unlike Tom Hanks, at least I can look at you.
Zing! You know, we
funny,
serve them up and Addy knocks
Yeah,
them down.
exactly.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Some baseballs yesterday too, you know.
We've spent too much time with Tom Hanks fucking yelling at people. But shout out to Tom Hanks, man. Everybody
What's
act
his
like
wife name? Rita
Wilson, I believe.
Rita Wilson.
Her name, yeah.
Wilson. That's funny.
Yeah, I know that is ironic.
That is funny.
Yeah, he just can't resist a Wilson. So
Yeah, the way you put that.
Yeah, that was it. Came out. What
do you do with Wilson on that island?
It came out the exact way I meant it to. Yeah. So let's talk about one quick issue. So the Breaking Bad actor, his name is Dean Norris. He played. God, what character did he play on Breaking Bad? He basically played his like brother-in-law.
He played. Oh shoot.
Damn, what was his name?
Hank. Hold up. Hank Schrader.
There you go. Boom. Who was Walter White's brother-in-law?
Yeah,
right?
he was the DEA agent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was
Or
the
was he
DEA
just
agent.
a regular cop?
No, he was the
I have
DEA
to go
agent.
back and watch.
It's been a
Breaking
while,
Bad,
man.
Dude, it's been like almost.
I'll
Like
watch
a
it
decade.
on like cable TV.
It's been holy shit. It's been almost a decade since I've
Dude,
watched
it's
Breaking
been
Bad.
like shit. Yeah, it has been.
It's
It's
crazy.
been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to go back and brush up on that series. Anyways, so he comes out with basically like a statement, and what's so funny, I always pay attention to like the outlet that's reporting, you know, whatever it is that I'm reading, and it's like Fox News that's reporting this. So they basically, I think the idea here is, oh, here's a privileged Hollywood actor saying if you have a problem with the gas price, shut the fuck up. But if you actually listen to what the fuck he's saying, it actually makes perfect sense, right? He's like, so his exact words. The Breaking Bad star said current gas prices are fair market and urge anyone who loves capitalism, quote unquote, to shut the fuck up, STFU. And I love how in the article he says STFU, and then they explain
parentheses.
it. Yeah, then they explain it an acronym for shut the fuck, as if like somebody's reading that like,
man,
I
look.
wonder what he meant.
Well,
like,
the 80-year-olds reading this, you know, they probably don't know.
I guess to be fair, they're like, I've never heard this word. I've never heard this.
Yeah, I got something to say
words.
about his take on this, though, man.
He says, you're not getting robbed at the pump. Norse wrote in a tweet on Wednesday. You're paying fair market price for commodity. If you love capitalism, shut the fuck up. So basically, just wildfire. People, I'm sure, were very, very angry about this. But I'll let you say your piece first.
All right, yeah. So it's like, to your point about who's reporting this, obviously, you know, being Fox News. Like when you look at like where the majority of our oil comes from, it does come from the Middle East. It's generally Saudi oil that the majority of our imports come from overseas.
but if
I
I'm
think
not
it's like
mistaken,
60% or something like that.
Yeah, we make hella oil though in this country.
What
Or
we extract, you know, crude oil, sell it off. No, we don't actually even sell it off. We allow these companies to lease on our land. They don't give us any kind of, you know, some sort of discount or anything.
As I tell my partner a lot of times, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but as I tell her a lot of times, that sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, it's our government. That's what it is.
It sounds like you're doing some stupid shit.
But my issue though is this: it's not fair market capitalism, because if it was, all of these other nations that are selling it to you would be participating in the same type of government that you are. But you're not.
I think that's kind of like
who owns the majority of the world's oil right now? It's the big six, you know, that are basically running an oil cartel, and they're dictating the prices, and they don't want to pump anymore because why would they?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, is it capitalism? Sure. In the market that we're working in, are they fucking bleeding us for everything? Yeah,
no, but I think that's kind of what his point is that for people who say they love capitalism and shit, well, this is actually capitalism, right? It's crony capitalism, I guess.
That's exactly what it is.
But it's for the same people who would have no problems with like, oh, you know, we need to, you know, loosen up these regulations and just, you know, do all these other crazy fucking things. It's like, well, this is what the result of what happens when you let people just do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Now, was that his actual point though?
I feel like it was.
So that's what you took it as?
That's what I took it as.
Yeah,
and maybe I was reading into it.
If you just read that caption, he's like, oh, you know, shut the fuck up, guys. Like, capitalism is the greatest thing in the world, and you should be thankful.
I don't think that's.
But that's how Fox News is reporting it as.
Yes, that's it.
Which is why it's the outlet who's reporting it.
Exactly right. So I'm always so amused whenever I like read an article and I see that it's something that has to do some sort of political whatever, and I read who the article is coming from, and I can always instantly tell by just reading either the headline or just a little bit of the article.
Yo, not to get off too track, but like, imagine if Europe does actually become energy independent as they plan by, I believe it's 2030 that they were saying, because they want to, cut off their entire supply from Russia, which is their primary source. I think like 65-70% of all of their energy comes from Russia. Yeah. If they are able to do that, imagine what that would actually mean to the rest of the world, because all of a sudden you have this one giant nation who has all this oil that's no longer supplying it there. We're still getting our oil from the Saudis and, the cartel that's running the oil over there. They know we still need it. They know we're not going to do business with Russia, at least not with how the current administration over there is. Yeah. It's going to be fucked up for us here. Well, I mean, I'm not going to be here, but it's going to be fucked up for you. You got an electric car yet?
I ride my bike.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to get my back tire fixed. We're going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
I'll just bike all the way to DC.
Hey, man, just do like the right wingers say. Open up that Keystone pipeline and everything will be solved, even though we sell that, off to all these big
I would like to say,
man.
This is not a political podcast.
Yeah, it's really not.
This is a movie and TV film podcast. Okay, so let's just keep that politics out. No, fuck that. I think
we're starting a political podcast, man. That's what's going to happen.
That's
here.
Exhausting.
It really is.
I talk about
can't win
one day, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, you can't win that.
I
don't know how they do it at TYT, man. Like, I get depressed real fast.
No, dude, I can talk about politics for precisely 30 minutes before I'm like, I am exhausted, and I need to go curl up in a ball.
That, and you're wrong, and you're an asshole.
Fair enough.
It's my conversations with my brothers.
Yeah. And then throwing over Tom Hanks. Back the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, man, that guy.
Without looking at the black guy in the room.
I love that. Black bodyguard. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna look at the one black guy in front of me.
Yo, he tried everything. He
looked everywhere.
Which one of you was it? There's one guy standing.
Somebody throw a balloon? Like.
Yeah, that shit is hilarious, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh god,
that has to be on Saturday Night Live at some point.
I don't know who did this, but that person needs to chill out. The dude's like, I did it. The guy's like, I did it. It was me. So I was like, I don't.
A white kid.
Hey man,
look at that white privilege. He's getting all the attention over here.
Hey,
it was me.
Hey, look, I got my kente cloth. I celebrate during Black History Month, man. Don't worry about it. We're good. It was that white kid over there.
You celebrating Juneteenth, man. Like, I'm walking here. Yeah.
Dude, so you said, let's move on from Dean Norris and politics in general. You said you watched an episode of Couples Therapy. Hit me with your thoughts.
I did, man. I did.
I need to know.
You were 100% correct in your assessment that, damn, right off the bat, that first couple.
Yo, immediately you're like, whoa, slow down, guys.
I was like, yo, man, like you went right into it. I'm like, I want to know, what did you do in Italy? What did you do in Italy? Did you get your threesome?
Whatever the fuck you wanted to do.
Yeah, did you get a maid? Like, what happened here? Oh my god, yo, it was a little, it wasn't necessarily intense. It was really an authentic.
You don't know where you're at for a second. You're like, whoa, everybody slow down.
It was just like so much in your face that like you get this like weird, really like honest look into people's lives, and I love the fact that they took people from different backgrounds. It wasn't just your typical man-woman relationship that have been together for 30 years and they're trying to figure out. They had a couple that was only together like a year and 6 months or something like that. 2 years. Like I loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. Like I do need your login, just so I can keep watching.
What'd you do? You got
YouTube it, like you said.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
That first episode was on.
Randomly, they had that shit on YouTube. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we watched it. Like it was 3 of us watching it. So me, my fiance, and her sister. Yeah, and we're all just like, damn, like that first guy went in. And yo, I love the black couple where she was like like I'm like up here and he was like down here, and like in the beginning it worked. Like I was high energy, he was low energy, it would balance me out, I would pick him up. And now he's like, yo, woman, I'm trying to work. I don't know why you're calling me. I looked at Rachel though. I looked at Rachel, I'm like, see that?
Right
I'm
there.
always working too, and you're always. I'm just kidding.
So my question is did it do that? Did it open up some dialogue with you and anybody else? Like, was it like one of those situations where it's just like something comes up and you're like, This is an interesting commentary here.
So the one thing we asked ourselves was, like, would we actually benefit from something like that? Like, do we have enough like unresolved issues to where like a third party could listen to us and kind of like guide us in a way?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, quite honestly, we were all just, at least Anna and I were like, no, not really. Like, there really isn't anything that like we struggle with. But I do wonder for the future.
Yeah, dude,
when more like pressing things happen, like when you have children, when we make our move to France, like, because that's going to be a strenuous time in our life. Like, everything is brand new. We're trying new things.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like I felt for the therapist. I felt for her because at the end you kind of get it.
Tight as fuck.
Like
cool.
you feel for her because even she's like, yo, I feel like I'm like trying to be the arbiter of truth for these people, but like they kind of like put me on a pedestal.
I only feel so bad for it. Like, you chose this profession, you realize.
I mean, I get it, but like to her point though, she's like, these people seem to be leaning on me. Like, I have all the answers, and all I'm trying to do is
a lot of authority there, right? She gets sort of an immediate authority to kind of be the decider in somebody's relationship.
Yeah.
So there'll come a time, I don't think it was in this season, I think it's in the next season, or it might have been that season, where the people just straight up ask her like, yo, should we break up? And she's like, bitch, I don't fucking know. Like,
because like I took it like, and I don't know, like I thought couples therapy was more of a way for people to open up dialogue, like an amicable dialogue that they're not having at home, to like get out their frustrations to each other and come to like some sort of like conclusion together. I felt in a sense that some of these couples, at least from episode 1, I don't know for sure, I'll keep watching, but I felt like they were looking for validation in their point of view.
That's what we're all looking for. Like, even in the best of circumstances, that's what we're all looking for. We're all just looking for, I'm right, this person's clearly fucking wrong, and I need you to fucking help me tell them that, right? Now, I'm not going to lie. In some cases, that's absolutely true. Like, that's just obviously true, right? That one of us is fucking up here. It ain't me. But I would argue that I was trying to say this to Rain, is that, like, what tends to happen, though, is that, like, it's not really about right and wrong. And I know that sounds cliche, but in truth, it really isn't about right and wrong. What it really is about communication and about saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm trying to do, and hearing the other person. But oftentimes we can't get past our own shit enough to hear what the fuck the other person's saying. Because sometimes we offer the most, the worst interpretation of what the person's saying, even if that's not actually what the fuck they're saying, And so when you were saying like, oh, like, we're good and we don't need to like, talk about anything, I would argue like, nah, like, I think everybody needs to like talk about some shit, especially like when you're adding shit to like the mix. Because it can be so easy to like fall into this like groove where it's just like, all right, well, we know what the day to day is like. We can kind of just keep going through the motions instead of actually like fucking like interacting and like really like, okay, like, and honestly, like, I'm not gonna say I like conflict, because I genuinely don't. Like, I don't go out of my way to like have conflict, but I do think conflict is necessary to build for something better. You know what I mean? Like if you're not having any conflict, to me, that's almost as bad of a sign as like always having conflict, because it's like you're not, for two fucking separate individuals, two people with their own fucking DNA and fucking their own cell structure to try to combine their lives, and for them not, like, I live with my family, my brothers, my sister, my parents, but it heads I love them to death.
Yeah, of course.
But it heads consistently, right? Partner. Lived together for almost for maybe like 4 years now, I guess. Yeah, 3 or 4 years now. And
look at that, I know it better than you.
Yeah, you probably do. Dude. I don't know. What is time, right? And not the same thing, but like, we're going to butt heads, right? Like, and I'm not saying that everybody is mimicking sort of what I do, but you can't take two separate people and to put them together and to expect for everything to be like smooth, right? There's going to be friction because communication's not always like great, you know, like sometimes, and it's why, like when we're writing screenplays, it's why that's so key, right? Is that the worst screenplays are the screenplays where everybody understands what everybody's saying exactly, and nobody misunderstands, and everything's just straightforward. But the best screenplays are the ones where somebody says this, the other person thinks that they're saying something else, and because that's just us as humans. Like we think about on a day-to-day basis for like literally anybody else you might be dealing with, how hard it is to effectively communicate exactly what you're trying to say to that person. I'm not saying that you can't develop a certain like understanding with your partner okay, like we basically understand where we're coming from, but it's just like, that's a lot of time spent together for us to just always just understand what the fuck the other person's saying.
So I can to an extent appreciate that and agree with you. To a certain extent, conflict can be a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just a type of conflict.
That's true. It's true.
You know, because there's a lot of couples that will just argue for the sake of arguing, arguing for 100%. The sake of just having some sort of excitement from, you know, because, you know, 100%. The day-to-day is mundane.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I know that has helped us, you know, as a couple is having mutual goals that we have talked about and agreed to and striving for those goals, you know, because and I look at like some of the people that I know in my life that don't, you know, necessarily have goals. They may have like small things like, hey, let's take care of the kids, you know, like make sure that they're good.
You say small things like, hey, let's take care of the kids.
Well, I say that because like having a kid obviously is a big
kids.
Well, I don't mean it like that. Like I mean it as in like this is like our responsibility.
Say, back the fuck up.
Yeah, right. Back the kids, you corner, baby. You are in the corner. Now, man, like I mean like with something like that, when you have kids, that is like, you know, your achievement as a couple that you guys did that together. That's what you wanted to do, and now you're kind of like lives might revolve around making sure that they're taken care of. Sure. It's a big thing. And then like a lot of times, you know, you may disagree on how like you raise them, you may disagree on how you discipline them, how you do certain things. But if you're just arguing for the sake of arguing, it's not helping anything. It's like that one-sided, like how you were saying, like here's if I just want to be right and I don't want to listen to what you're saying, I just want you to agree with me. That's not constructive.
Exactly. Here's the question though. Are you afraid to argue?
Me personally, having witnessed how my parents dealt with their emotions, it's not that I'm afraid to argue. It's that I know that if and I want to preface this with saying, generally, I am always in the wrong. Like I am generally always the one in the wrong.
Not lying, folks.
Like I can honestly admit that even like the other day, like we have this. I'll tell you our biggest contention right now on air, live, YouTube. The whole world can understand.
Exclusive
mine and Anna's relationship. Sure. We can't decide on what we're gonna do with all our extra shit that we can't take to France. I want to take it to Goodwill, just get it out the house. Anna wants to sell it.
Yeah. So
now it's sitting in my car, and I don't have no space in my
Anna's
car.
Right. Let's get some fucking money for this shit.
She is right, but things kind of get in the way. We're in a smaller house right now. We went from like twice the size house to a much smaller house, so we don't have a lot of space. There's a lot of like, I do the home improvements, so like I have to like jump over things. So I'm like, hey, like come on, like I need space, I need like this. So, but again, I'm generally always in the wrong because I jump to conclusions myself. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do it this way, without talking to anybody else, and they're like, no, and then they'll force me to sit down and be like, let's have a conversation, let's make a game plan. And again, I'm generally always wrong, but like it's stuff like that we could have like had a big argument, we could have blown up about it. It's literally never gotten to that point. We've literally never like yelled at each other. I think one time like I mentioned like we don't yell at each other, and Anna was like, he just yelled at me. And I was like, honey, I was in the basement. You had the music playing. I couldn't make it up the steps. I had to yell your name. She goes, it still counts. I'm like,
she
but
wins
no,
on technicality.
To answer your question, though, am I afraid? No, but I am afraid of the potential consequences of what that could mean.
If you did. Like
for me as a person, like what that would actually, because I don't want to be like my parents were when it comes to that. So I try to stay away from conflict because they were 100% go all the time.
This is the same problem that I run into is that trying to avoid conflict isn't the same thing as just not having conflict, right? When you try to avoid conflict, you never, it's like maturing like anything, right? Like you need to actually experience the thing in order to like mature in it and understand. So it's like the fear you have, and I'm trying to fucking.
But yeah, I've done this though. Like I want to say that like I have done this. Yeah. It's the reason why my past relationships didn't work. A lot of arguing, a lot of not talking to each other constructively, a lot of yelling. Yeah. I've kind of, grown past that, and I've made that conscious decision. And thankfully I'm with a partner who agrees. Like, we both hate yelling.
The long and short of it is I'm not even trying to sit here and convince you like, oh, like this is the type of.
All right, fuck it. I'll go, yell at Anna tonight.
Yikes. No, Anna, I didn't say that. Okay. Just to make that clear.
I'm yelling because Tunde said.
Yeah. Well, we have taped evidence here. No, what I am saying though is that, again, like, avoiding conflict is almost as detrimental as always instigating or searching for.
But let me ask you then, though. You say avoiding it, like that means you're not actually having open lines of communication, which is like kind of like my point, though. Like we are.
It's there's ways to avoid conflict, right? In terms of not, you can still have communication, right, without saying the actual thing that you mean to say, but saying the thing is going to be agreeable. And I say this because I am a master at this, at saying the thing that I know isn't really the thing that I want to actually say and the point that I really want to get across, but saying the thing that I know is going to land the best, right? And as I'm searching through the Rolodex of my brain of responses or the thing that I want to say, it typically lands on how can I package this in order to avoid there being conflict in the scenario, even if it does result in me not driving home the actual point that it is that I'm trying to make.
Now, do you feel that that's the right approach? Are you trying to like change that about yourself? Like I'm kind of losing.
In a manner of speaking, yes. Like I want, the thing that I want is to be able to say the thing that I mean to say. And not be afraid, of what the consequences are. And I'm only saying this to, maybe I'm just projecting onto you, what I feel. Gotcha. But I feel like what I do at times is I'm not saying the thing that I mean because I'm afraid, somewhere in me, I'm afraid of what the resulting thing is going to be. Not even necessarily what the other person is going to say. I'm afraid, like, I'll get too callous and I'll get too fucking fucked up, and I'll say something really fucked up, or I'll do something like really like.
You're worried about the escalation that you could potentially have.
Exactly, because
not your partner, but you.
I don't want to see myself become that. So I then try to just. So that's why I relate to you in that. Trying to but that anyways. Long story short,
ironically, this will tie into the movie because I did have some thoughts
about the movie.
In relations to this. For
sure. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is I think even if you're not actively like in a scenario where it's just like some shit's like going crazy, I think everybody could benefit from therapy because what it can reveal is it can kind of take like the glossy layer off of, this is coming from somebody who's currently looking for therapists, not actually in therapy. But what I imagine it to be is unveiling like that taking off that shiny layer that it doesn't matter what scenario you're in, good, bad, or indifferent, but reveals what's really like underneath it all, and I think that ultimately that's a good thing. There's never, I don't think there's going to be a scenario where that's going to be like a bad thing for you to see whatever what good, bad, or whatever the case is. So if your communication is great and everything's going well and, there's really nothing to really clean up. All right, cool. This is just like a validation of that. And like, and I'm not even trying to even convince you to do this. What I'm trying to do is, I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to do. I don't know what the fuck my point is to this, but
it's interesting because it does kind of goes to show like that different people with, different personalities, regardless of like how close of a friendship you can have with somebody, at the end of the day, like people do handle shit differently.
100%.
Which is like kind of my point in like the therapist herself. Like she doesn't see the same people every session. You know, like she'll get like a lot of different personalities, a lot of different behaviors, a lot of different moods. So it's like, you know, when you kind of look at it, like, you know, the way I handle things, like the way you handle things, the way I handle things, and like the way Orain handle things, there are 3 different ways that like we're all kind of handling
I would
this.
say the least, yes.
Like
I would say
so it's so interesting to see that, but like I don't know if this is like even like okay to say that. Like I think at the end of it, like we all do kind of agree that we can't overstep, you know, certain boundaries. And I think we're all kind of just trying not to. And in a way, maybe my lack of trying to, you know, step outside of my comfort zone is maybe a hindrance a little bit to like what solid, valid, and better conversation we could potentially be having.
And I think that's ultimately kind of like what I'm trying to say is that you might be looking at some shit that's like, oh, this shit is great right now. But what if there's like another layer to it that's like, okay, like this is like a next level, some next level shit. But that comes at a cost because it's an unfamiliar territory.
Like, do you handle it now or later? You know?
Well, like handle it now or later, but you can very well never handle it, and it's always going to be this thing that it is now, right? But if you, the problem with, and this is why there are certain people who have like one of my favorite lines with Jay-Z is like it goes somebody asked me how you got so fly. I told him from not being afraid to fall out of the sky, right? Like sometimes it's like we get complacent in whatever the thing is, and we think that complacency is like our destination, but it's not. It's just a place where you feel really fucking comfortable.
Yeah.
And the trick is that you could stay there and be perfectly fine, and it's all well and good, but there are like other levels to shit, you know? And what happens is like, again, like when you start adding shit, especially when it comes to the context of like relationships, if whatever scenario that you're in, as soon as you start adding other things to it, I feel like you essentially get like locked into that, like that base platform, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens is you can't, when you try to build other things on top of it, you find, oh shit, I wish I would have did the work back then to like kind of like progress that. So we're starting from a different base than now we have to like undo all this other shit in order to get to that base when really we could have been working on that base and making that base better, you know? And I think
when are you starting that work?
I'm confused. The work for the base?
No.
Are we talking about carpentry? What are we talking about? What are you talking about here?
Not the
baseboards? Is that? I don't understand. I'll go back and listen to this and figure out what the fuck you're talking about.
I get your point, man. No, I get your point. Trust me, it's something that is heavy on my mind, and you know me and my fiance fairly well.
Yeah. Shout out to Anna, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Anna, fantastic fucking woman, like love her to death.
Yeah,
that's my girl.
Yeah.
She is 100% the better person. Like there's like,
why are you so low on yourself?
It's not that
it's self-esteem.
No, my self-esteem is perfectly fine. It's just I can acknowledge that, like I failed up, like, you know, like I did, like, you know, this
as white dudes tended.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. In today's society, it is. But no, like I'm being 100% honest, man. Like she's fucking fantastic, man. Like, yeah, I gotta be better, man. She deserves the world, man.
Hey, look, man. We all gotta be better. We all
exactly.
Look, let's
stop
get on
the
some
toilet
shit.
Seat up.
Well, yeah, Jesus Christ, Addy, you're still on that level. Super quick before we jump into our main movie topic here. I've started watching Miss Marvel. Have you?
So no, I haven't yet, but that is definitely one that I do want to see. For many reasons.
I would suspect so, yes.
Yeah, and then we won't get into all of them because I know you already know them. But yeah, I actually do want to. That's one I do want to watch. From what I've heard of it, not from right wingers, but from everybody else, it's pretty good.
Yeah, but apparently it's like one of the lowest rated Marvel series that have come out. Now that's a mystery, right?
That's disappointing.
So Iman Vellani, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I apologize if I do. But she plays Kamala Khan, who's the main character on the show. So she's fucking fantastic, dude. Yeah. Like she's so fucking great. Now, I would argue that the show itself is maybe just a hair, a little bit underneath my sensibilities, because it's just like, it's definitely like a teenage show. Mm-hmm. And what I would liken it to is like, so Spider-Man is supposed to be about, especially like, the more recent incarnations is just about like high school, right? Yeah. Like, but it's not really a fucking high school movie, right? Like it's got high school elements in it, right? It's got, the characters are like set in high school. Mm-hmm. It's not really like a high school.
Right. Yeah, they're not dealing with high school things.
Yes, in a sense, yeah. But it's mature, it's, at least to some extent. This is a solidly like high school show.
You think that's holding it back?
No, not at all. But I feel like it's underneath, or not underneath, as if I'm like some sort of high mind or some shit. But it's like just like a tick below where I like the world that I, at this point in my life, am familiar with, right? When I was in high school, I probably would have been like, oh shit, yeah, this is cool, that's cool, that's awesome. But as an adult, I'm just like, I don't really get it. Like, and also it's my age too, right? Like that I'm just so far removed from that life that it seems foreign to me, no pun intended. But like it seems like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it just seems like it seems like I'd have like a way better time interacting with it if like watching a show about like watching Friday Night Lights. It's fucking dope, because
you lived that.
I lived it. Okay, maybe not their fucking crazy dramatic life.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
But I understood the football aspect of it, and I understood sort of, okay, this
the
is what
relationships, the coaches, the parents.
Exactly.
You understood that. Yeah.
So like I identified with it, right? With this show, there's a lot of things I identify with it in Ms. Marvel, but the high school aspect of it is like super like prevalent, but it's like the thing that I'm like least connected to, even though it's like it's like own character. It's because like even how they do like a lot of like the animations and like they just stylistically, this is a very sort of like they kind of like lean, which I think is dope, but it's just a that much harder for me.
You think that's why other people aren't gravitating towards it?
I think that might be a little, because it's so distinct in that aspect. And again, and that's why I brought up Spider-Man, because it's the same difference. Spider-Man is also, set in high school. At least Tom Holland's Spider-Man, for the three movies, it's all been set in high school. But it felt, if that feels really different than this, interesting in a lot of aspects.
See, I was drawn to it, and mind you, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely gonna. I was drawn to it for that aspect because I do read and listen to a lot of YA. Yeah, it's just something that I like, and I write YA too. Yeah, so like I was drawn to it as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, like this kind of looks more like up my alley than like the other Marvel, universe stuff, because it's just not up my alley. I'm not into superheroes and the way that they do it, but this kind of like seemed like it.
Yeah. So what would you say is the difference though? Because it's like, again, like Spider-Man's based in like high school and all that stuff, but you wouldn't consider that to be like YA. Like what's like the telltale, like what's the difference there?
So the primary difference in terms of the way I would interpret it is the character herself. One, she's female. One, she, an immigrant family in America. And from what I understand of the show is like what you just described.
Oh no, I'm saying from a YA angle. Like all those things I get. But so I'm saying like when you sense that it's more of like a YA type feel, what about, like, what's the distinction between? Because I'm trying to define what that is.
So like a lot of times in YA you'll find that like young angst, in teenagers, and that's kind of what I got from seeing the trailers from the show, where it's like a coming of age kind of thing, for this young girl, which is, you're always gonna find that in YA. It's always some sort of young love angst, trying to make it in the world, being misunderstood by either your peers or your parents or something along those lines. So when I saw those trailers, and I think I think you and I might have actually done the episode when we saw the trailer the first time, and I was like, oh wow, like yeah, this is actually something that like would be up my alley. Because it does have a ring to it of YA. Like when I look at like certain YA books that were made into series, Vampire Diaries would be like, one of them.
Is it like a certain maturity?
I think it is. Like, I think it very much is. And she has that sort of kind of look that's not a Tom Holland, for example, look.
Like Tom Holland looks like a fucking, like he looks like just like a dude. Like,
right.
He looks like a grown-ass
she
dude.
looks like, at least
she looks
again,
like she's like a teenager,
from the trailer,
like
she looks like a teenager that would be going through teenage related things. If she was going through more mature things,
yeah.
I don't know if that would work with the kind of look that she has. And this is why casting is important for certain roles.
Right.
So, again, I haven't seen it yet, but from what you're telling me and from what my interpretation of it from the trailer was, I think it's spot on.
Yeah, it's dope. I like it. I just, as I was watching it,
has Orain seen it?
I don't know that.
All right. I'm going to try to watch it this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some time this week. Yeah.
All right, bet. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. I was interested in your quick thoughts on that. So we watched a movie, not together, but separately. But and I'm glad because I was at certain points in this movie. I was like, I'm glad nobody else is here right now. This is
you gotta start watching some better stuff, man. I can recommend some stuff. There's some YA out there.
I'm not into. No, forget YA. I'm talking about this.
Some indie
this
stuff
we're about to talk about. No, I'm talking about. Oh, look, strictly talking about sex scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
I still feel weird, and I think it's because of. Oh, I'm no longer talking about Miss Marvel. If that helps.
No, I got it. I got it. Yeah, we're on to
you
the
looked
next
at me
thing.
like
Yeah.
I was like.
I know you're not talking about a teenage girl here.
Yeah,
I got you.
About to get fucking booted off of YouTube.
No, stream's still live. We're good.
Yeah. So we're talking about the movie Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, which stars
I think it's
Emma
Leo
Thompson.
Grande.
Grand. Is that the American way to say it, Addy?
I thought that's how you said it in the
I
movie.
don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm an idiot. This is directed by Sophie Hyde and written by Katie Brand. And again, like I was saying, stars Emma Thompson, Daryl McCormick. Look, this only has basically 3 actors in it, and I think it's dope.
Becky.
It's really good.
I think that was her name, right?
Isabella Laughlin, who plays Becky. Let's set the premise. So basically, Nancy Stokes, 55-year-old widow, is yearning for some adventure, human connection, and some good sex. And so she meets this, or she, I guess, hires this sex worker. His name's Leo Grande. Escort. What's the difference? Escort.
Oh, it's a huge
sex
difference. Yeah, but he even defines it in the movie. An escort is somebody. Yeah, come on. An escort is somebody that you do hire for literally any purpose, and generally that purpose is, with some sort of connection that doesn't involve sex, and if sex leads to it.
So basically, every sex worker is an escort, but not every escort is a sex worker.
Nah, because somebody on the corner is not an escort. That is a sex worker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A cam girl is a sex worker. She's not an escort.
Wait, but why? She's not. But if she's not, what if she's not doing? Well, she's that good.
Because look, take the definition of the word escort. You're escorting somebody to something. To do something. Sex may not be the defined. This is
thing. Fucking beyond. I don't.
Anyway, you should have paid attention better to the movie.
I really should. I was working at the time. So long story short, she hires Leo Grande or Grande, whatever you want to say. I don't know, Grande, as an escort. Okay, my apologies for messing that up. Interesting conversations ensues immediately upon watching this, and I'll get this out real quick, but then I want to know your thoughts. I got the shades of my favorite trilogy of all time, and everybody still kind of looks at me weird when I say this.
50 Shades.
No.
Use the word shades.
No, I don't think if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think I've ever actually watched a 50 Shades movie, and not because I have anything specifically against it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't have anything against it. I've literally just never watched it. No, the Before Sunrise series.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
So you have before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight. And as this was starting, I felt, because I was like, I didn't really know what to expect from this movie. So I just kind of just turned it on and kind of let it ride. I think I did watch a trailer before, but I didn't, I barely remember, what I did earlier today. So I did not remember what the trailer, what feelings it gave me. But as it sort of started, I just kept sort of hearkening back to this like extended conversation. And for a second I thought, oh, we're going to spend all day with them in just this one room, this one time. And honestly, I might have enjoyed, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it at all, but I thought I was kind of preparing for that. And I was like, okay, I'm with you guys on this journey.
Okay. So one meeting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then it ended up being several, but I want to know your thoughts about this whole endeavor.
I gotcha. So I did the same thing as you, where the trailer had popped up and it was like one of those like 20-second trailers at one time.
Yeah.
And that's how I remember the movie. So I had pulled up the trailer again to like show the girls, to see if this was something that they wanted to watch or if I was going to watch it alone. And we only watched like 45 seconds of it because it was funny and we didn't want it to give too much away. So we started watching it. I want to read you one thing though. All right. You're not going to know this. So just follow along with this and tell me if this sounds like this movie.
Okay.
Stella Lane thinks math is the only thing that unites the universe. She comes up with algorithms that predict customer purchases, a job that she has given her more money than she knows what to do with, a way less expensive and way less experienced in dating department than the average 30-year-old girl. It doesn't help that Stella has Asperger's, and French kissing reminds her of a shark getting its teeth cleaned by pilot fish. Her conclusion, she needs a lot of practice with a professional.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that has some of the...
Yeah, so I heard this movie in an audiobook last week. It was the same exact thing.
Wait, are you saying it literally was, or are you just saying...
It was literally the same... No. I'm drawing parallels,
okay.
But it was the same exact premise. So I had actually just listened to an audiobook about two Asian Americans in their 30s who are going through the same exact thing, where this young Asian American girl suffers from Asperger's. Her big thing is she's never enjoyed sex, and she decided, okay, if I'm going to find the right man in my life, I need to practice sex and being, right with this person. So when I started watching this movie, I instantly thought of this book, which is called the Kiss Quotient.
Okay.
And it's not a young adult because it's, it's set with 30-year-olds and whatever. It wasn't that great of a book.
Yeah.
The movie, far better. I really actually enjoyed this movie for a multitude of reasons. So it had that indie feel where, it's one location. You kind of like assume it's a low budget, though whenever you're using a Arri Alexa 65, it's not a low budget movie. And when you have Thompson in it, it's not a low budget movie. Exactly.
I think you're good to
so
go.
it's not, but it had that feel to it. So I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it, where they had to take a premise on a small scale and expand it over, the hour and 30 minutes or so that you had in this movie.
Yeah.
I loved that aspect of it. I thought the writing was very clever. I thought their banter back and forth, especially in the beginning when Leo Grande was really playing the part of Leo Grande, and it almost seemed like that. What was Thompson's character's name?
Nancy, or at least that's the name.
The fake name Nancy. Yeah. So Nancy almost was kind of falling for what Leo Grande was. She was seeing Daryl McCormick. She was seeing him as Leo Grande, not as this other person. She asked a couple of times, "Hey, what's your real name? What's I want to know a little bit more about you." But he kept playing the persona of Leo Grande, which I absolutely love because I've seen enough documentaries about sex work and about, being an escort to, understand that there is a separation between that work that you do and your personal life. Yeah, for sure. And I love the fact that it wasn't a movie where it just jumped right into, oh yeah, I was abused. I was, let go by my mom. I, had this experience in, high school. Yeah. I love that aspect of it. It was one of those movies where it's we have enough sexual awakening movies that are a lot of times young adult, that are teenage, that are even people in their early 20s. I mean, come to mind would be the American Pie movies. Those are sex coming of age movies that are comedies. This one was a comedy, as well. But the fact that it involved an older woman who was, clearly frustrated with what she had in her sex life, and now she's at the point where she wants to, have some sort of sexual gratification of her own on her own terms, what she wants. I absolutely love that aspect, because I think a lot of people don't realize that what you have right now, or maybe even what you've had in the past, may not necessarily be the experience of what sex is supposed to be, of what love is supposed to be, of what love making is supposed to be. Like there's different obviously, you can be on a different scale. Like, some people like it a certain way, some people don't like certain things. I love the fact that this was about a woman who spent her entire life doing one specific thing, or one specific man in this case, and thinking, oh, this is just how it is. And now she has this opportunity to kind of like expand. And like statistics have shown, like they've polled, people in retirement homes. I mean, they're banging. Like, this is like their time to like get it out. I know you're making that face, but it's true. Like, the older you get after a certain age, generally speaking, you end up having more sex.
I know that was the point of this movie.
Yeah, and I love that. And I loved it because they put it in such a context that, like, she was a working woman her whole life. She did all the right things. She raised 2 children that she somewhat doesn't like, which look, I don't have kids, but I can imagine that being relatable. Like, sometimes, hey, like, they may have not been murderers, but they're kind of just, assholes, idiots, boring, where that she is. So I love that aspect of it. Then, like, to actually Leo Grande, like, I love that he was really into that character. Like, I really felt that what he said, especially towards the end, where he was like, this is a character that I created and I'm proud of. I felt that. I felt like he was actually proud of this persona that he created for his job. I loved all those aspects. I thought the writing was fantastic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in your face funny.
Yeah.
It was, you had those quirky, awkward moments, of course. You kind of always get that when you ever have some sort of like sexual awakening movie. But you also had that little bitty banter back and forth where, she'll make a comment and then all of a sudden, he comes in with something, even, a little quirkier and funnier. So like it was a nice back and forth. It wasn't always in your face. Like you'd have a serious moment and then there'd be a little bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I forgot the writer. She's an actress too. And she had a comedy skit that a big show that she was doing in, I forgot her name, Kate Brand. Yep. Yeah, Katie Brand. So I thought the writing was fantastic.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. Like, this is definitely the type of movie that was like up my alley in terms of like what I like. I love dialogue-driven movies. This is definitely one of them.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is definitely a dialogue-driven movie. And I sometimes hit or miss, but when it's hit, I absolutely love these type of movies, right? So I echo a lot of the things that you said. I think the acting was really great in this, and dealing with the subject matter. You never really felt like the acting never really took you out of it. Maybe on Daryl McCormack's side a little bit at times. It was a little bit melodramatic, but I think for the most part, it really sort of hit all the notes there. Like I said, I really did liken this movie to the Before Sunrise series because, same difference where you spend the entire movie in essentially like not necessarily one location, but with just 2 people and having a continuous sort of dialogue and just exploring sort of the inner workings of, even if they just met, their relationship since they met. And so I felt all those shades, and I felt this movie was... It was funny. It was witty. It was charming. All of those things. But I did take, and I'm going to say this, but I'm going to follow it up with some positive comments about the movie, because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to harp on the negatives. But the negative that I have about the movie is that it's a balancing act, right? Like when you have this banter, this dialogue, and you're trying to get in as many quips as you possibly can, sometimes that you have to murder something else in order for that to live, right? And what I feel like they murdered was the emotional side of it that they were trying to make us feel for Leo Grande. I forget what his actual name was. Supposed to be in the movie, but by the time we started really talking about his mom and how he felt, it felt rehearsed, whereas a lot of the other parts of the movie felt really natural, felt really sort of like built into the fabric of it. But when we got to that part of it, at least for me, it felt like we kind of we got into the part where I was like, okay, this feels like acting to me. It doesn't feel like when he gets so mad he hits the wall because he's like looking for his phone. Like I didn't really have a connection with that part of the movie, even though I understood like how you get there emotionally, like the logic of how you get there. That she's been probing him about this entire time, and he's basically just like, "Yo, leave it the fuck alone." And then finally, boom, she hits him with the "I know who the fuck you are," and he's just like, "What the fuck," you know. And then she keeps just kind of even after that point, you know, and it really is like a, you know, Emma Thompson, you know, lovely woman, also rich white woman. Like, let's just be honest here. And she played that to a T because even after, like, she just literally, she didn't understand. She's like, wait, so after you've asked me 1,000 times not to do something and then I do the thing. And keep
in mind, her character was a school teacher in her past. And what do you have with school teachers that are invested in their students? They pry. They pry until they get an answer. I don't know if you ever had it. I've had that.
Yeah. I don't know about that one though. Like let me go like Google some shit and then but then like
we didn't have that kind of easy internet access back in the day, so this is different times.
Yeah, somebody had to look up the phone book. That's even weirder. Like,
you got a phone book?
Yeah. Well, you can go to the fucking payphone. Yo, dude, I just remember this recently. Yo, people used to use payphones.
Yeah, they don't got them anymore.
Could you? And they used to have like spit and shit all over the fucking the phone booth themselves.
I dialed collect once, ATT collect. Yeah. That was it. I never used the payphone again.
No, we used to use
like soccer
payphones
camp
all the time because that's just what we did. If you grew up in the 90s, when you came over tail end of the 90s, right?
Yeah, 99.
99. Okay, yeah, like
we used payphones. I mean, I was a little kid.
I mean, I just remember all throughout my youth, like my.
Yo, you called your friends on a payphone?
No, I'm like, my mom would like, hey, we got to use the phone real quick. And then we go use the phone.
Yeah, like she uses it, not you. Why were you using the phone? Who were you calling?
I would argue I did my fair share of why the fuck are we talking about this?
I don't know. You started it.
I don't know what, like, I just had that like thought recently, like, man, dudes really used to just pick up the phone and was just like, just talk into like, lucky that the coronavirus didn't come out.
Yeah, exactly. 90s. Then we would have been screwed because there'd be,
Let's revert back to
reverse. Very interesting though, because you had that feeling about her character and prying into him to get more information. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because if you never had a teacher that like really took an interest in a youth that may have been troubled or may have just been hiding things and you really took an interest, I had that happen. And it was like an entire year's worth of just being in this teacher's class where eventually, she wore me down and, you know, we kind of got to the bottom. And this was a lot of it was in high school after my dad had his car accident and family dynamics changed and everything. So I felt her.
You can identify.
I felt her. Yeah, I definitely identified with that. You know, it's interesting because if you haven't, then you do maybe get
I would argue that I have had people take like interest in me, but they were always seen as like the not the enemy, but like chill the fuck out. Like, why are you?
Yeah, see, I didn't have that.
Calm down.
That's the difference. Yeah, because I was like, oh, fucking finally somebody's taking an interest.
Yeah. Just different, different people experiencing different things. But so we get to that point where she reveals, hey, I know who the fuck you are, and you know I felt like that part was less believable for me not because of the scenario, but because there's some quality about it it felt, whereas the rest of the movie it flowed very naturally. This felt like we were like halting in order to get this scene in, and then the subsequent scenes after that, specifically when they were at the I guess the restaurant area of the hotel. I really didn't feel like that part because not because of the dialogue between them, but because of the logic of how they got to that point. Like, so for instance, how we get introduced to Becky is that she recognizes Nancy, who's again, forget her real name in the movie, but
Susan Robinson, Mrs. Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson, yeah, because he made the joke. He said, "Oh, that's what did he say? Did he call that cliched, or he said, of course, or something funny that he did to mark that?" But
and he was Connor. His real name.
Gotcha. Which is I guess that makes sense. He's because he's Irish, right?
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. So we get to that point, and in order to meet Becky, now I just got done watching. I watch Jared Bauer. Damn it, I forget his name, but he used to do the Wisecrack. He used to be the head dude at Wisecrack. Fair enough. They talk about movie shit.
No.
Fair enough. They talk about movie shit, and he's since gone on his own and is doing his own thing. But he was talking about what movie? What the fuck was he talking about? He was talking about some movie. But for the movie, he was talking about how like the plot, like, or I think he was talking about Doctor Strange actually. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. He was saying like how basically how the plot itself. How the characters weren't driving the plot, that the plot was driving the characters. And at this particular point in the movie, I felt that the plot was driving the characters. So how we meet Becky is because she recognizes Nancy, right?
Right.
But the only reason why we meet Becky is so that Susan, I guess Susan/Nancy, can have that revelation that, hey, I'm sorry I told you and the other girls to wear, longer skirts or whatever. I yelled at you for wearing longer skirts so that we can know that she's had some sort of growth, right? But the whole way in which we got there, like, because it would have been weird if we immediately, if she sits down at the place and the first person comes up to her is Becky and she says, "Hey, can I help you?" "Oh shit, I recognize you," right? Then that would offend our sensibilities there a little bit, right? So all they did to get around that, instead of coming up with some other weird or clever way to do it, the way that they do it is just that they just introduced her to like 5 different people, asking her the same, because I thought that was a little odd. I was like, why is in a restaurant like this, but there's nobody else there, there's only one person who would be working that section, and they'd ask her one time if she wanted something and then leave, and then unless somebody else sat down, they wouldn't come back until like a while from that, right? But instead, we get like literally 5 people in a row come and ask her, "Oh, do you need anything? Do you need any help? Do you like can we get you anything?" When in reality, that I don't think that would actually like happen unless you think differently.
I do, because you're making an assumption that conclusion of why they were having that meeting in that space wasn't going to come to that natural her understanding of the situation and her, driving her point across that, she was wrong on multiple levels.
No, but they needed to show us that she did, right? And they did with dialogue, but they did separately of him, because if it's just her telling him, then it's not as effective as taking some sort of external force and displaying what you've learned to that thing versus the same person you've been talking to this entire time.
See, I didn't take it like that, man. Okay. Because for me, a lot of times, you're a witness to this. A lot of times in the things that I have ever done wrong, it wasn't until somebody pointed that out. Mm-hmm. And even though I was already at that same conclusion that, hey, yes, I was in the wrong, somebody pointing something out really drove my perspective of, oh, I really need to change my approach right now.
Yeah.
And she changed her approach. She may have just only been coming to have that one quick meeting, with Leo, explain to him, hey, I was, wrong for doing X, Y, and Z. Now you're kind of getting a maturity of a mature woman, understanding her mistakes even in the past. I honestly thought it was honestly very, very well done, especially with the waiters, because a lot of times you will see that if you've been in an empty restaurant where it's just you, and I don't know how many times you've done this, but I've done this many times when I've gone out to like Starbucks to write.
Yeah.
And or even actually some of our local in Havre some of our local coffee shops, especially there, when I'm the only one in there and I get my drink the first time, I will literally have 3 people come by and ask if everything is okay. Because it's almost a little odd, like I'm just there by myself doing nothing. So again, in my experience, I have felt that.
Yeah.
So I related to her in that case, and especially when somebody else pointed out her shortcomings. And she's like, fuck. I had a shortcoming with you, Leo.
Okay.
You know,
Leo.
Yeah, exactly. With finding out who you were, overstepping that boundary. I overstepped my boundaries with my students.
Yeah.
I realized that maybe my religious teachings in a Catholic school may have overstepped certain boundaries that in today's society are just not acceptable. So I felt that. I felt exactly the way she felt because I feel like I've been in that situation where. And like you are like the biggest example of this. Like you out of everybody has pointed out most of my shortcomings ever. I think, and it's helped so much in me realizing like, oh shit, like I did X, Y, and Z to A, B, and C person.
Yeah. But I think that the difference there is that like it's different it's different in reality than it is in a movie, right? Because in a movie, you're having to convey things. In reality, we have conversations, right? And then we might come to like certain understandings. But how, especially if the entire movie has been based around dialogue, what conveys the point that you're trying to get across even more is having something separate than the same mechanism that you've taken to get there in order to have us realize.
So you would have liked her to get to that point without the added Becky and the waitresses.
I thought as I was watching it unfold, I was very aware that they're just using this as a device to
So you would have liked it to come more naturally as everything else in the movie had.
Or what I would have done was have them have some sort of diner scene or them in that restaurant earlier in the movie. So by the time we get to that point in the movie, it's not like this thing that kind of comes out of like left field of like, okay, you meet like 5 different people and then the last one you meet, oh shit, it's Becky from school who I don't remember. And
okay,
then,
I get your point. So for you, especially not maybe relating to that type of scenario, you would have liked it to happen more organically.
Exactly, because the rest of the movie feels really like organic.
Okay, that makes sense.
And just genuine, whereas this felt really orchestrated and like, like very sort of
it was very specific to that scene and to that dialogue.
Exactly.
I got you.
Like if you look at the layers of how that scene sort of plays out, it really couldn't have. It played out for a specific purpose, and it really, if you take any one of those elements out of there, then we don't really get what we came there for.
As opposed to like all the other scenes where like scene 1 was like, okay, sex, but it took so long to get to that through conversation. Same thing with scene 2,
completely
meeting 3,
different from
and then
this
meeting
scene.
4. All of a sudden, boom! Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we're being spoon fed all this shit, and it's all happening one after another. Yada yada. But yeah, dude. Other than that, other than those 2 things, I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was a really smart and thoughtful movie. And shout out to both of the actors, Daryl McCormick and Emma Thompson, because this could not have been an easy movie to make. And I'm not saying this because, of the cliche of like, oh, Emma Thompson's like an older woman. It's just whenever you're dealing with this type of, whether it's, 2 people of the same age, 2 people distinctly different ages, whatever it is, it's a touchy subject, not because of the viewing public, although that's an aspect, but because it takes chemistry and it's a very vulnerable situation. And they just seem like they just slid their way through it. No pun intended.
I was gonna say something.
It just seemed like they just sort of just glided through it without really much. I mean, it felt like they had effort into it, but it just felt like they were both so even as uncomfortable, like in in their discomfort with each other, they were still comfortable, you know?
Yeah, I actually felt that because I felt as Leo Grande as a professional escort would probably walk into a lot of awkward situations, and him knowing how to diffuse those awkward situations, and he mentions that you learn how to read people. And then like for her being that awkward woman, I mean, she hit that on the head in the beginning. I mean, I would say, I mean, she might have even been a little bit bipolar. She might have, had some ADHD that, was just like, she was compulsive in a lot of things.
No, I just think she's a person who has lived a particular life and was trying to step outside of that life. And when you try to do that, you get a little manic, right? You get a little like, oh shit, what am I doing here? And then you don't know because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So you're just like, I don't know what's happening here. Especially when you're dealing with like another person, it's different. If you're like, I need to learn how to play badminton, right? And you're just like fucking hitting a ball against a wall. It's like, if you fuck up, whatever, you're the only one who sees it. So it's just like, whatever. But dealing with this is a complete, because it's such a, sex itself is such a like a intimate thing. Yeah. And when you think about doing it with somebody who, when you've been doing it with one person, and then you're dealing with somebody who's like so fucking experienced, and then it's just like the thoughts that must fucking be going through your mind at that point. It has to be a lot. So
I agree with that. It's a very interesting thing for people in different age groups, because if you look at it, so I don't know, maybe like with you growing up, if you had any. So I had a lot of like female friends growing up. I was more just along with the female friends. Nothing like sexual. It was just I had a lot of them. And a lot of them trusted me.
As a good man I once knew would say, playa. Playa.
I mean, some things led somewhere, But no, one of the big things, like, in young adulthood, that a lot of times, like, especially the girls that I would hang out with, they would, say, okay, like, my first kiss was with my friend practicing kissing. Yeah. In maybe our, 20s, like, okay, nowadays, if you're not getting it, you have Tinder, you have Grande, you have all these like other ways that you can instantly get some sort of quick connection. Yeah. Obviously, people of a certain age can have that too, but that might just be a different world to them. So, especially for a woman like her, like you said, like she's been one specific way her entire life with one specific person, and all of a sudden she's stepping out and she doesn't even know how to approach it. She's overthinking everything, and I think she hit that like on the head. Like
she's never been eaten out. She's never given a blowjob.
Nothing. Like he was on top, and that's it.
Yo, man, our
missionary
parents,
needs to go like out the door, like
no, missionary has its place,
and you got to go in the back door or something. Like do something. Missionary out the front, back door at the end.
You are so awkward right now. That was the weirdest thing.
I'm just me.
Playa. Yo, I never forget his name was Sydney. He used to work overnights with me at a Home Depot. Yo, and anytime like. We talk about like personal life or whatever. We talk about like personal life and shit. And then like I'd be like, oh yeah, I went on this date or whatever. You like, he'd look at me for a second and be like, play. Yeah, that was my man. Fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, shit, what was the last thing you said? Something about
she hit it like right on the head, being that awkward, woman who just doesn't. Who maybe doesn't fall in line with the norms of society.
Well, no, I would argue this is what I was going to say. It's like our parents' generation, right? So I felt that shit that she was talking about of like, she was with her husband and then they only had sex like this and they never deviated from it. And that was just the way it was. Cause it's like,
and when you're told certain things were degrading.
Exactly. And then it's just like, oh, we're not doing anything else because, that would be weird or whatever. And this is like, yeah, man, no wonder why all you guys are fucking assholes, because it's like, yo, you guys don't fucking do what you actually want to do.
All you know what? Leo had that same sort of thing on his mom's side. Because he explained, what happened with him and his buddies, one night, and they were just exploring each other. And then you have that parent who's stuck in a certain old way of thinking and not understanding that. So yeah, man.
But again, like that's kind of why I felt like that whole storyline was a little like half baked, because it's like, and we were supposed to sort of get sort of the feeling of what he was talking about from sort of like the subtleties. Like there was a time where he was like staring into the mirror and you can tell there was like something going on underneath, the waters there with him, which is cool. But like I felt like, I don't know, I can't quite, I haven't. I might need to like watch it again in order to like really sort of like be specific in terms of what I feel like was like missing there. But it felt like there was like a little bit of a disconnect. I don't know if it was like his emotion. I don't know what it was, but something felt disconnected from when he was talking about the mother situation. It felt like there should have somehow been like more emotion or like more of an intensity. And I felt like there was this like he was still Leo Grande when he should have been Connor. And I felt like we never really got to see, like they tried to show us Connor in terms of him like kind of spazzing out when she said his name. But I don't think we really, like, it never really felt like we met Connor until like maybe when they sat down to eat at the restaurant. But that all they did was just change his clothes and shit. Like they didn't really.
I don't know, man. Like this is like one where I don't know if I agree.
That's fair, and I feel like that's fine because I feel like all the things were there. I didn't connect with it.
Yeah, and you gotta like. So we the two of us come from slightly different backgrounds in terms of like our upbringing. Obviously, you know, from immigrant families, but like our family was. Maybe not in the extent of how like your traditional Muslim family is religious, but while we may have been, you know, slightly more on the progressive side in terms of, you know, whatever you can call a progressive Muslim, we still had certain beliefs that like homosexuality was bad. I vividly remember my parents, you know, having conversations about certain members of another family where they straight just oust her. And never talk to her again because, you know, she ended up being a lesbian. Yeah. So I felt that. I was like, yeah, like this definitely does happen in certain circles, especially within the religious community, especially at a time where, okay, so in his character, I'm going to assume he was in his early 20s. You know, so, you know, this would have been what, maybe in the early 2000s that he may have had this experience with his mom. Maybe he's even in his 30s. I can see it. I can absolutely see it because while I haven't personally gone through it, dude, I have conversations with my mom where she still asks me who the three like gay members of our side of the family are, and I refuse to tell her because I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to tell you because you're going to tell somebody else.
Why does she need you? Like, and how does she know it's like specifically three?
There was a whole conversation, and it was surrounding the first time they had a Pride March in Bosnia. It was a few years ago, and I was explaining to her, I was like, Mom, just so you know, we do have members of our family.
Oh, okay. I thought she just was like, she just knew that there's three of them. I know,
and like we even had an uncle who was. So closeted and everybody knew. Yeah. The man died alone in his apartment because he had nobody. Yeah. Like these things do absolutely happen. So I felt it. I felt his shame. Yeah. I felt, you know, he was disconnected, but I actually feel that same exact way because when I talk to my mother about these kind of topics, you know, I am so disconnected from like what her reality is versus what my reality is. It's two different worlds, man.
Yeah, but again, like I don't dispute any of that. In fact, I agree wholeheartedly that's where they're coming from with it, and I can identify with, like, you know, anybody.
Are you saying maybe the conviction of just his performance in that moment?
Yeah, it was a mixture of his performance and something about the material itself that felt like it was just like something was just.
I guess I can see. Given the context of everything before that and how it was,
it felt like it should have been there should have been like a deeper register of like because you could tell that he was affected by it, right? But when we got to the part, it felt like there was like a.
Would you have wanted more?
Yeah, I would have wanted. I wouldn't want more in terms of just like. He turned into the fucking Incredible Hulk and start just like tearing up the room.
More, or anything. Like more story,
but more connectedness. I don't know how else to explain it other than more connectedness from him, from Daryl McCormick to that specific point. Like it's all been building for him, but it felt like he spent a lot of time perfecting Leo Grande, which you know, to your point, might actually be the designer of it all, right? Yeah. He spent a lot of effort perfecting Leo Grande, but when we got to the Connor portion, it felt like there was it felt like I immediately knew I was watching a movie. It immediately felt like I knew somebody was acting. Like it didn't feel like the rest of it did. Which again might have been by design, might have not been. It might have just been how the cookie crumbled. But I felt like that was the like, and because it's like the ape, like it's the central, it's a nervous center of the movie. That whole 15-20 minute span is the center of the it's the crescendo, I guess, of the movie. So it was really important that that note gets hit right. And for me, it felt like it was like we spent a lot of time building up to it, but everything else before it was like great, fantastic, and was spot on. This, it felt, was like, it was okay. Like, it felt like the delivery of it wasn't like I still think that the movie overall was a great movie, but it felt like the delivery of that portion, it could have stood for like it could have stood to have something else in it.
If you were to put it in like a pie chart, what would it be in that scene? Would it be the fact that it like would 90% of it be like his performance in that scene, 10% be like the lines?
That's why I have to go back and watch it, because I like, as I was watching it, like I wasn't immediately like, sometimes I'm able to be like, oh, that's the thing that was missing. Like in the later scene with the whole Becky situation, I understood what I what I didn't like about that scene. This, I couldn't tell if it was the performance, and I assume it's some mixture of it, right? Some mixture of the performance and the story. What I am leaning towards, and maybe it's like 60-40, that it was maybe the performance versus the plot in that situation, or his arc in that situation. But it was just something about it that just it didn't feel like it was an appropriate, like, even I understood the response, but it didn't feel like, to me, it was appropriate enough for what they were building towards. Like, I'm trying to think of like an example of like a movie or something like that where I just felt like you don't watch the Ozarks, or you haven't watched the Ozarks, right?
Oh, not all the way through now. Not all the seasons.
Okay. I was going to say, because and I'm terrible with names, so of course I'm going to forget the name, but Wendy's brother, he has this like manic episode where he's got some mental health issues, and he goes through these like spurts of just like, he's just like all over the fucking place, and it was played so fucking beautifully. Like, it was so great. And that's because like you felt like that was like he was going through it at that exact moment in time. It didn't feel like a stitch of it was like, it's such a great, like, and he has like a couple scenes like that where he's like fucking, like, he's off his meds, and he's going through it, right. And it's just like, I was just like, holy shit. And I even mentioned it to Rainer. It was like, everyone was like, yes, yeah, it was so fucking good. And that's what I'm comparing it to, is like, I felt that, like, you feel everything building towards this thing, and what you want is for somebody to just like aggressively like take control of it and make you believe that they've reached this point, where this breaking point, and it felt like his breaking point was like a breaking point that was like, but it's going to be okay, because the next scene we're going to work it out and it's going to be fine. And
I fully understand what you're saying. I took it. That's right. I took it differently, man. I took it differently, especially with how the character was being built throughout all those other scenes, because he was Leo Grande, and the little tidbits that you might get from his life as Connor, they were short, they were small, they were little nuggets.
But that's why that scene was so important.
I get it. I get it for what you're saying, why it would be important.
Yeah.
To me, it felt more authentic that he didn't go into a lot of detail, that the emotion was capped, that he was trying to restrain himself from having that outburst, because he has already battled this demon for himself over time.
Well, he hasn't. He distinctly hasn't, right? Like he
but
hasn't
internally, sure, he has.
No, because he hasn't really dealt with his mom. Like it's different if he.
But that's what I mean. Internally, he has battled it in himself, and this may not be the woman that he wants to duke this out with.
Exactly. But I guess that's sort of how I get to the logic of like, this might, and we have to move on here in a moment. But it's the logic of that he's very used to keeping the two separate parts of his life very fucking separate, right? And here's this moment where that gets broached, and now he can't help but those two parts of his life collide in this very strange, disarming sort of way. So he doesn't have time to like, there is no time to rehearse. There is no time to kind of like play it like slyly. You're just reacting. And especially if you created a character and all of a sudden somebody, you know, breaks that character and you're forced to just be you. It's like being in the middle of a coffee shop and then all of a sudden realize, oh shit, I don't have any clothes on. Fuck, what do I do? You know, like, it's just like, there's this moment of panic. And it's almost like that moment of panic didn't really, like, I saw him go through that, but I didn't feel that he went through that.
Yeah, but you're making an assumption that him having that wall broken down means he's now instantly Connor. If he has played this role as Leo Grande, he is still Leo Grande as much as he wants to give.
That's the push and pull of that scene, though, is that he still wants to be Leo Grande, but in that she stripped him of that, and that's the essence of that scene. Is that go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like that's why it worked for me. Because
but if he's still Leo
he was
Grande,
still fighting so he was fighting with the urge to be Connor, and he was forcing himself to still be as much Leo as he could. That's how I took that. I took that as he is one person in one setting and another in this other setting that he doesn't want people to know. And when somebody broke it down, he's not ready in that moment to give you it all.
No, but what I'm saying is in that moment, he can't control it. That's the whole point of the scene, is that his ability to control it is now diminished. He
to control the actual actions of what are happening there, but he can still control how much he lets out.
No, but I think that's what I'm saying is the logic that doesn't make sense for me in the scene.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is that if he's put in a position where he's so uncomfortable because these walls have been sort of broken down without his permission, then his ability to control to still give you Leo, I would liken it to like being on medication, right? If you're either bipolar or you're or maybe you have DID, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's like saying like, okay, well, you stop using your meds, you know, you've run out of meds. And for you now to like have the same conversations that you would have with everybody else, well, now you have to have those same regular conversations. And it's like, you can fight all you want to like hold on to but eventually that, especially the more startling, the more, the most stark, that's not the word I'm looking for. Like the more quickly that change happens is it should highlight your inability to then control the scenario, right? So it's different if she tells him over the course of time, like I just, you know, I've been like, kind of like Googling stuff, and she like eases into it. She didn't ease it. She just dropped this fucking like bomb on him, and then he's just like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Like not only is the thoughts of like invasion of privacy, all that stuff, but now he can't hide who he is, and especially when she's talking about his mom and all this other stuff. I wanted more connection from. Anyways, I don't think we're gonna. I think we both.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like I definitely do. I felt it more personally.
Yeah. I think you identify with it because of the plot line and the specifics of where they're coming from. I think I was looking at it from the performance and the moment and all that stuff. So. Yeah. Either way, I thought it was a great movie, man. I was Emma Thompson. I thought I've always thought the world of her. I've always thought
I do too, and I agree with Leo. Like, she, you know, I understand like body image and everything like that, and especially when you get older, you may not see yourself, you know, as maybe a beautiful person. Yeah. Yeah. Emma Thompson's a beautiful woman. Like,
but that's like, just a problem. But that shit that he said was some real talk. That like. Yo, nobody really sees themselves like that.
No,
you know, like, some people do, but maybe
it's true, man. And I felt her in that moment. Like I really did, because I live with two women, you know, inside the house, and you kind of go through these things where it's like you got to reaffirm to them, like, yo, no, like you are beautiful. You know, you may not see it yourself, but you are. So yeah, I really did think that, you know, she was fantastic in the role. I mean, look, when is she not fantastic? Like, let's just like kind of face it. Like I've loved her in more or less anything that I've seen in her. And Dylan McCormick, I really haven't seen.
Nah, he must be new on the scene. I have no idea.
I like looked up his IMDb, and he's got like small credits here and there. I thought he did well.
No, he did pretty good.
You know, I guess, you know, we differ in that, you know, that final scene. But yeah, man, like I thought the movie was great. it honestly a whole lot better than the YA book that I read. And shout out to Lehman. He commented something on one of our topics here. He said, "That's honest for you, progressive a lot." Yeah, that kid knows me too well.
Fair enough. My favorite movie with her in it was Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah,
I thought she was fucking fantastic.
Absolutely.
Still one of my favorite movies. Anyways, let's move on very quickly. We've wasted all our time going back and forth. Great movie, great conversation, but we have to speed through these because otherwise it's going to be midnight by the time we get out of here. Let's watch some trailers, dude. Let's and whoops, I kept headlines on that entire time, and we're definitely not talking about headlines. Let's watch the trailer for Blonde, dude. This is a fictionalized chronicle of the inner life of Marilyn Monroe. This is directed by Andrew Dominic and written by Dominic as well as Joyce Carol Oates, starring Ana de Armas. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
I don't know why you said it like that.
I don't know. I said it like that either. Adrian Brody, Bobby Cannavale, who I'm a big fan of his. I think he's fucking fantastic in pretty much anything that he does. And Julianne Nicholson, among others. So this is due out September 23rd of this particular year. Let's check out the trailer for Blonde.
Here. Please come. Don't abandon me.
She's coming.
Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. It's then that those louses go back to their spouses. Dads are a girl's best friend.
She's coming. She's almost here.
That's nice and creepy.
Yeah, so that's a teaser. That's not a...
Apparently. Yeah, not much of a trailer, but I guess a trailer nonetheless. Yeah, so what are our thoughts on this teaser?
I mean, you didn't get a whole lot from the teaser, but in terms of is this going to be something that I'm going to watch? Probably not. I've seen far too many Marilyn Monroe documentaries to watch a whole nother movie. Ana de Armas, as you like to call her.
Armas.
I have no doubt that she'll pull this off. I am curious to know,
how's that accent going to work?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's going to be interesting.
She's got a pretty thick one.
Man, you've seen people pull it off, man.
I don't think I've seen her. I don't know if I've seen her in a movie where
has she had to.
That's what I'm saying. I have no.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm actually more curious to find out what they're going to show in this movie, because I know Marilyn Monroe dealt with a lot of domestic abuse and violence in her personal life.
I think as creating a piece of dramatic art,
yeah,
I feel they would have to do. They would be remiss if they didn't.
Yeah, because she went through some stuff. Her husband was abusive, and even
Who's she married to? For as much as her name gets thrown around, I have no idea who's.
Yeah, I mean, because you think of her of all those iconic shots, and what
all I
she
know
meant
is like the
Mr.
President,
and everything. Yeah,
the happy birthday thing.
I do remember when I was watching some of those documentaries, and her husband, that whole iconic dress flowing up photo that she has, she got it. After that, they went, he went into it. So, I hope this isn't the type of movie that's just straight glamour and just
I'm sure it's not gonna be.
I hope they show the whole real story, and this is why it's a teaser. I wish I would have gotten a little bit more out of it. So I'm just kind of speculating here, what this is going to be about. But from the teaser, you get some black and white shots, you get some shots in colors, so it should be interesting.
Yeah,
I still have Netflix, so I might watch it.
Yeah, I've got to watch one of these. I didn't watch the Pam and Tommy joint. I didn't watch.
I couldn't watch it, man. I tried, man.
Did you watch at least an episode?
I did. I watched the first episode, and the trailer was way better than what the actual first episode was. Huh. So yeah, I just kind of stopped, man.
Huh. Yeah.
Now this is a movie, right? This is not a series.
I believe this is a.
Yeah,
film.
So I might actually give this a little bit more of a shake than I did Pam and Tommy.
Interesting. Yeah. So from that teaser, yeah, we didn't really get a whole lot, but we at least we got like, because I remember watching the trailer for Pinocchio, which is essentially like a teaser on its own. No Pinocchio showed up at any point in that trailer. It was just Geppetto and a bunch of other B.
And this, on the other hand, was
characters.
all Maryland.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad we at least got to see Ana de Armas. I don't even know. It kind of sounds Irish when I say.
Yeah, I don't know where you go with the Irish accent there.
I don't know what's happening here. So yeah, at least we got to see her in her full Marilyn Monroe decor. Let's move on quickly here to our next trailer. We are getting a trailer here for Westworld. Do you watch it? Did you watch it?
No,
I was tempted not to do this.
No, go ahead and do it. I know enough about it. I have seen episodes here and there, especially when I did have HBO. Mm-hmm. I will not be watching the new seasons because I do not have HBO anymore. For a very specific reason.
Is this like a protest? Are you protesting?
Yeah, because let's watch the trailer.
All right, and then talk about it. All right, so everybody knows what the fuck Westworld is. It's about some AI's gone amok, or I guess robots. I get robots in AI. I don't know.
No, you're gonna go with AI.
I feel like an idiot. Shout out to Dan because he's probably watching this like, you fucking moron. So at the intersection of the near future and the reimagined past awaits a world in which every human appetite can be indulged without consequences. So essentially, they basically just have this place where what is supposed to be just robots are supposed to sort of please your every whim, and then we kind of move from that to how that world starts infringing upon our actual world, and of course, a wacky hijinks ensues. This is starring a lot of people: Evan Rachel Wood, Jeffrey. Shout out to Jeffrey Wright. That dude's a beast. Ed
Harris. You've got Jimmy Simpson in it. Yeah, I love Jimmy Simpson and like everything that he's ever done.
Jimmy Simpson. Who the fuck is
really?
Jimmy Simpson?
Really?
Jimmy Simpson.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh shit! Yeah, no. Jimmy Simpson's dope as fuck. I fucking love him. I love him in. He always has like weird ass roles.
He does.
Like this has been like one of the like more serious ones.
Yeah.
But usually it's like in some weird like comedic role, like It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, and it's always like a dry humor that he has. Yeah, man, I love him.
Yeah, he's dope. All right, let's check the trailer out.
This is a story about a girl. Every single day she wakes up, the more she sees it, but nobody else can. That there's something wrong with the world. And that it's her fault.
What is this girl's name?
Your kind made a sport out of hunting us. You controlled our every move. And now, I'm going to do the same to you. It's time to evolve into the species that we were meant to become.
Maybe it's time you question the nature of your own reality. We're not here to transcend. We're here to destroy.
Do you think you can save them?
I've seen a path.
I want a story with a happy ending.
Oh shit! This is what, Rage Against the Machine. Mm-hmm. They took this from the Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, very appropriate.
Or was it 9 Inch Nails? It might have been 9 Inch Nails that the song's from. No. We're not doing that. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Saw that fly go into his ear, and it's about to be summer. Fuck
everybody's worst fears is AI taking over and fucking locust insects going fucking wild in the world.
Yeah, no. Specifically going into your ear, I think is the.
Ear, tear ducts, wherever. Just stay the fuck away from me. So let me ask you, just because you've obviously watched all the seasons, right?
I have.
From the few episodes that I have seen, I think I've watched through episode 4, possibly, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't like.
Yeah, you're very confused about the setting.
Yeah, because like it's a departure now all of a sudden.
Not
like,
really. It's not a departure. For the last couple seasons, we've.
Okay, so that's where I'm kind of getting at, because like from what I remember, like this setting, like it's expanding.
Yes, and they've expanded beyond the. I forget what they call it. Do they call it like the ranch or something like that? I forget what they called it in the show, but yeah, we've sort of grown beyond that. And weirdly enough, I think it's kind of where I start getting a little iffy on the show, where I feel like it kind of loses a little bit of its sauce. I got to go back and brush up on the seasons, because it's been so long since what the problem with binging shows is that if you binge it all at one time, I feel like when you watch everything week to week, you can at least absorb the stuff a lot easier than when you just binge it, because then you just forget so much shit, because there's just so much you're watching. And so I think that's what happened with Westworld with me is that I watched it not so quickly, but quickly enough where I can barely remember like what happened in season 2 or season 3. Whereas if I feel like if I taken my time and watched them week to week, I could like
decompress. You think about it, a little bit. I mean, how does this actually look to you? Like, does this actually like
looks interesting? Westworld always looks interesting.
Yeah.
I think what part of the problem is that like. I felt like for a while now the payoff isn't always as good as the build up with Westworld, where it feels like it's going somewhere unique and different and strange and weird, and it kind of does, but it's always kind of like a promise for the future, like it's going to get weirder, it's going to get stranger, and then you're kind of like, okay, cool. And then it just doesn't really get that strange. Yeah. It just kind of is the same thing, but kind of like, well, we're gonna get weird. And,
so in the like maybe like season 2 and 3, was there a lot of discussion about the natural evolution of the AI? Because in this thing now, it sounded like they're saying now we're gonna take that next step in our natural evolution.
But that's just it. Like they've been saying.
Oh, okay. So it keeps building up. Yeah. So now you're like, is it really gonna happen now?
Yeah. Like or like. I don't know. It feels like there's supposed to be sort of this big like confrontation that's supposed to happen between, this sort of like inflection point of like the AI, like almost like a fucking Terminator situation where it's just like the Skynet's fucking like taking over, and we're now dealing. It's now their world, where it doesn't really ever really get to that point, and it feels like they're building towards it, but it's like you must be taking the scenic route to get there. Cause
what would you prefer to see like where this show goes? Because now I'm actually really curious that you say that.
It's really a strange show to watch, because there's so much about it that's just interesting. But again, and I'd love to get my man Dan in here too, because I feel like not only does I think he likes the show more than I do, but I think he understands the show probably a lot more than I do. I think it's a very dense show. There's just a lot in it that they pack into it.
Yo, man, look at the cast.
Yeah, you got to give everybody
budget, man.
Equal screen time.
I mean, like that cast though, like it's not.
No.
Some small actors, like these are big Hollywood actors.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's not like B actors. Like this is
but this is the Game of Thrones. This is the Game of Thrones of shit. We got to talk about that next, dude. We can't leave here without. God damn it, you haven't watched Game of Thrones yet. God.
And I won't.
What do you want? What?
I couldn't get past the brother and sister in the first scene.
Addy, you got to get past.
Yo, legit could not get past it.
I don't understand.
Also, there were no dragons in the first season. Love me some dragons. I can't wait until season 2.
Well, they don't even get there. I don't even think they get there in season 2.
Yeah, see? Made my point for me.
No, we're talking about payoff. Well,
I've also listened to you guys discuss the last season, so I kind of know what happens.
Not really. But you see, this is why it's interesting. It's an interesting exercise with Game of Thrones and Westworld for that matter, because I've developed a theory that like even if you know the ending to something, it doesn't really mean you know the story.
Yeah.
And honestly, and that's how they do it. That's like way that you tell stories sometimes, right? You tell the ending first, and then you're like, okay, well, this is how we get there. And then you realize, oh shit, this is how, the journey's more interesting than where you inevitably sort of end up, or at least gives context to where you eventually end up. So even if you have heard about the ending of Game of Thrones, what I would still argue is that the show itself is, it's just a fucking great show, dude. It's
a lot, man. It's a lot.
You know what?
You got to pay attention to that show, right?
You know who you sound like right now?
Who?
You sound like Rain. Where he's talking about the Handmaid's Tale. And we're both looking at it like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, just
I honestly have no doubt that it's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
From everything that I understand of it, it is. I'm at the point where like this is the type of show where you do kind of have to pay attention because you do have different families, different factions. You have to know what's going on episode to episode.
No. It's just literally like anything else, right? Like if you watch a show or if you hear about a show and you're like, fuck, this sounds intense, dude. Like it sounds like a lot of shit going on. Yeah, okay, sure. But when you just start the show and then you just go through episode by episode, it's just like any other show where you're going to know what the fuck's. That's how it felt aggressive when I first watched Game of Thrones, because I tried to watch it before the premiere of the final season. So I literally had 7 seasons to pour through, and I'm talking about like maybe like a month before the season came out. And so I was furiously pouring through the episodes, I didn't even know if I had enough hours in my time to even watch all the episodes before the season 8 premiere. But I did, and it I understand it all just as well as anybody
we're
else.
already talking about it. You might as well just jump into the next one.
Yeah, man, fuck it.
Let's go for it.
So, I guess that's it for Westworld. But Jon Snow, man, he's getting his own fucking series, man. And you know what? Everybody knows that this is right. Come on. There's not really anybody else in Game of Thrones we really want to fucking watch. We want to know what the fuck happens with Jon Snow. That's really all anybody really fucking cares about. Maybe you could argue Daenerys, and I know all these names. I'm sure I
know of the names.
Okay,
you're good. Keep going.
Maybe we want to see what happened with Daenerys, or I guess all the theories in terms of what might have potentially happened with Daenerys. But yeah, Jon Snow has been sort of our protagonist, our main protagonist in basically the entire show. And to hear that we're going to get a sequel, it's massive, because to my knowledge, there's not like literature to help guide that story. That's purely just something that HBO is just doing.
Right.
If I'm to understand correctly. Now I might be wrong about that, but
if that's the case, then what are you hoping for?
Something that's not garbage is what I'm hoping for.
That's so generic.
Yeah.
Something that's not a dumpster fire.
Yeah, but so look, there's like relationships in life, right, where you two are together and it's just, oh God, this is just not working out. Let's just go our separate ways. And then you go your separate ways and you just realize, the fuck are we doing? We had it so good together. And that's what Kit Harington is with HBO and Game of Thrones. It's like, what are we both doing here? Let's just go back to the old days, because he's trying to do other shit. It's just like, it's just, come on, just, you're Jon Snow, all right? Just don't try to fucking pretend like you're anybody else, all right? And that's highly offensive to a well-trained actor.
He's a good actor, man.
Kit Harington.
Give him some props.
It's just like, Jon Snow, Kit Harington, they're one and the same. We fucking root for Jon throughout the entire time of Game of Thrones. And I think what people's biggest pet peeve about Game of Thrones is that his role at the end of the end was pretty like diminished. In that everybody, it's kind of like everybody thought it was going to be like a normal story of just like, yes, our champion wins and he's the one to save the day. But then when the champion isn't really the one to save the day, you're like, well, this is bullshit. But it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I kind of fuck with it a little bit, and that it's a little bit of a swerve, and anyways.
So you're going to continue paying the $14.99 a month to
there's just too much.
this.
Like, I'd be fucking lying to you. These fucking streamers have me fucking by the balls, dude. I
did it last night, man. I cut off HBO last night.
Can you
legit?
Can you tell us why? Or
yeah. It's so a multitude of reasons. One, I hate their actual app. Their app is horrible. It's horrendous. It's
not worse than Paramount.
Not worse than Paramount.
Nothing will convince me.
Paramount is 100% the dumpster fire of apps. It is literally something that was made as a throwaway, and then they realize, oh shit, people actually do want to watch on their mobile devices. but they're already paying. Why fix it when it's working for us? Maybe not them.
Capitalism, baby.
Yeah, like fuck Paramount. But HBO, one of the worst, honestly, apps from a big company. I hate their menu. I hate going through it. I hate searching for things on it. It's just not properly set up. I'll give you one example, at least on my version of the app that I have on my iPad. When I click on a movie and it pops up for me, the information, I can't simply, it's such a annoying thing to me, but it's such a small thing. I can't simply swipe away from it. I have to actually go back up and hit the button and then go back to where I was. I hate it. I'm also not a fan of Bill Maher. I have gotten
for every Bill Maher on HBO, there is a John Oliver.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But man, they still pay him. And I can't agree with a lot of his politics.
Everybody pays everybody terrible shit.
I know.
Netflix
and I'm making
all
a
sorts of
stand
terrible-
here. I am making a stand. And here's the other reason.
Weird hill to die on.
Finally, the main reason. $14.99. It's not worth it to me.
I don't know. I would argue
You're not giving me nothing. $14.99.
I would argue that HBO gives hella more content than Netflix is giving.
No. You are 100% right about that. It's the type of content that I like to consume. Which is a lot of documentaries.
Streaming platform?
Favorite streaming platform?
HBO has hella documentaries.
They do.
Fair enough. Okay.
Not that good, in my opinion.
Okay.
Some of them have been good. Like I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's not even an HBO series. I don't think. I think it's like a CNN series. Honestly, that's just streaming on HBO, which is This Is Life with Lisa.
Yeah.
I forgot her last name.
Don't-
Yeah, like it was fantastic. Like I love that series. I love several of the series that they had about trafficking in America.
Watch Chernobyl. It's not a documentary.
Yes. I have seen Chernobyl just because I love everything Chernobyl. Like I
love everything Chernobyl.
it's just an amazing,
Strange.
horrible thing that
Way to
happened.
put it.
You know, but I do love that historical. But no, Chernobyl was fantastic. But yeah, $14.99 with everything else. I prefer Netflix. Honestly, Netflix ends up having better content, in my opinion, to what I like. You know, a lot of Netflix documentaries, my opinion, nice. He just comes right back in. Done a lot better. Honestly, though, favorite streaming service, you gonna laugh, but it's Tubi. It's free and it's got a lot of stuff that I used to love.
Yeah, it's got a lot of old
from
shit.
back in the day. Gives me a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I can get the relatively newer shit from Netflix and stuff and Hulu, and it's part of my Disney bundle, so it's like I can get a lot of that shit.
Nah, I'm not. I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. It's for me, man.
I probably have to cut somebody from the roster sometime soon. Definitely not going to be HBO.
Who do you got on your roster right now?
Everybody had
like legit everybody.
Who don't I have? Yeah,
you got Sony Crackle. I mean, Kraken,
isn't that
something like that. Yeah,
free?
it probably
Pretty sure
is.
it's free.
Yeah. And nobody uses
that shit. Imagine me looking at my statement, seeing Crackle. Like, what the fuck is
hey,
this?
man, look, it's a matter of time before Tubi's not free because Fox is gonna start making people pay for it eventually.
Nah, well, fuck that. Nah, yeah, because especially like when I can't control the shit, like. Well, you can select what you want to watch for Tubi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Create your own account. Get your
but what
own,
I'm saying is, what I actually really like about Tubi is like how shit just comes up because it takes me back to like
it does
the days where you're just like, oh shit, I see this thing on TV.
And I love the fact that they have both their like live version of it that you can still watch for free, and then you can also just like watch your individual channels which again it's like it kind of brings you that nostalgia. Like you flip through it, walk Texas Rangers on. I'm a marathon this all day while I work.
That's a sad existence, but fair enough.
It's very true. It's okay. I got my reasons.
Yikes! Walker Texas Rangers fucking marathon.
While I work, man. While I work.
I think I just got sick. Gross. Gross.
Too funny. Who are you cutting?
Shit, I don't know, man. All right,
come on. It's a 53-man roster. You got 54 on there. Who you cutting?
Shit, I don't know. We might have to put him on a practice squad. All right, so we got Disney Plus. Can't cut that.
Nah, I can't.
We got HBO.
And Disney Plus includes Hulu and ESPN Plus.
I have not gotten the bundle, but I also don't really care about the bundle because I get ESPN like
through
from
your cable.
Yeah, from the cable shit. So I really don't care. And also, there's really not. I'm not really.
So do you pay Hulu separate then?
I do.
Yo, that makes no sense, dude. Yeah. What the hell are you doing?
No
all right, we can stop this conversation. Like,
okay.
If you just bundle those two, you don't have to cut anybody then.
No, I still have to cut somebody, right? Because that's what, like 14 something like that. I need
to get you
like
progressive and like get Flow out here to like bundle you up.
You went a long way for that joke. All right, so we got fair enough. We got the bundle package, right? Okay, fair enough. HBO, Netflix, Paramount.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Come on, there's somebody else. I know there's somebody else. Disney Plus.
Let me see who I got.
Oh,
here.
Apple TV.
Apple
I
TV.
just recently started paying for that.
Do you pay for Prime Video?
No, I don't pay for Prime.
Okay, no Prime Video there.
But I have it, but I don't pay for it though.
Now, is Peacock separate from Paramount? It is, right?
Peacock is separate, but I also am paying. I'm not paying for that directly.
Okay.
Because I get that through.
And obviously, we got HBO Max.
Yeah.
Now, I have a few other subscriptions that are like sports based.
So I've got like 7 so far.
Which you can bundle 2 of those into one. So you'd really.
Who are you talking about?
Well, you can bundle your Hulu with your Disney Plus.
That I'm because it's like the yes I should, but it's like kind of negligible in terms of like it's like
it's not. Do it, man.
$5.
Yeah, say $5. Inflation. That's a gallon of gas.
No, I'm talking about cutting just somebody. Period. Like one of these 10.99 joints. I need them out of there.
All right, well then start with the higher priced ones, man. Because Paramount Plus is cheap.
Who am I going to cut? I'm not going to cut because HBO is just not getting cut. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Okay.
So you're not. All right,
I don't.
so
I don't have
not
the
HBO.
same, I don't watch on my iPad.
I'm guessing
like a weirdo.
Netflix. You're still kicking it with Netflix.
Netflix. I'm not going to lie to you here.
So that might be the one.
Here's
right?
me being 100%.
Because it's getting up there.
I'm being a buck right now. Netflix might have to start coming out with some good content.
Yeah, and the Squid Game thing is not going to do it.
Fam,
it's not going to do it.
Sounds stupid.
Not going to do
you
it.
You guys just missed the entire reason. Like the most
why
obvious
people
reason
like Squid Game. Yep.
Not even just why people like it, because I'm sure people just like it because people get killed in it. But like the whole idea of it is like making people like fight for money, right?
Yeah.
When it's just like, yo, they're poor, they need money. Like, also just give them the money.
All the while you're raising prices on your people.
on your platform, and it's just like, guys, I feel like we're missing the boat. Here. We're missing something here, guys. But not only that, but it's just like, yo, before watching the season of Stranger Things, that was really not a reason to keep fucking Netflix. Was just for fucking Stranger Things. Also, it feels like their ability to consistently come up with like things that aren't just like pop culture conversations, but actual good content. It's like it's hit or miss, you know, and it's so hit or miss. And I'm like, I don't know, fam. And then the other side of it, which is they have so much content that I can't even fucking sift through all of it in order to figure out what the fuck I'm trying to watch. I have to spend like an hour flipping through shit in Netflix just to be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna watch Netflix.
I will tell you why I am considering cutting them. It's because my favorite shows will get axed before the conclusion of their
shit
shows.
Is whack.
They do it all the time.
That shit is whack.
One of my all-time favorite shows on there was Sarah Clarity A Diet. You know, for no fucking reason. I still don't know why they cut it.
Mindhunter. One of the
Mindhunter, oh
shows.
my God. Season 1 and 2 were fantastic.
And then they were just like, yeah, we're just not going to do it. And he's like, what the fuck? what do you
like,
mean?
Why?
Yeah. Well, I know. Well,
and you know what the craziest thing was about Mindhunter? Because they filmed it in 4K UHD, and I bought my first 4K UHD TV, I loved the way it looked. And then they cut it, and I was like, well, hold on, I'm not paying
this UHD.
Yeah, fuck this. Yeah. So yeah, I took it down from the $19.99 at the time to like $15.99, whatever the hell it was.
You were tripping for that. I'm not paying for that shit.
It looked beautiful,
4K
man.
my ass.
Yeah, Mindhunter looked great on that, man. It was such a fantastic show. Who the director?
David, not Fincher. David Fincher.
Yeah, Fincher. Yeah, it was him. It was Fincher.
Oh, I keep getting him. I don't know why I always mix the Davids up. David Lynch and David Fincher.
Yeah. It was Fincher. Yo, fantastic fucking show.
Yeah.
The first season like had me gripped, man. Like I loved it.
No, it's a fucking great show.
Second season, fantastic. And then they even announced it before the second season came out that this was going to be it.
Yeah.
That pissed me off, man. So yeah, they might be getting the axe from me.
Yeah.
Just for that reason.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna finish up Stranger Things here.
And then decisions have to be made.
We gotta make.
You know what? Maybe we go back and forth kind of thing. You know, 1 month you.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do.
It might have to happen like that.
We got to get this thing together. Though you know, I guess they'll use this as evidence if they really want to come after us. But I think we're gonna have to get some sort of like.
I'll be out of the country. It's okay.
Yeah. And now I just got the Showtime joint, but I'm not paying for that yet. So I think that's definitely gonna get cut.
How much is that a month?
I don't know because I'm not. I have no intention of paying for it. I have no idea.
You know, you got to call in, right, to cancel it.
No. I've already. I was a click away from canceling before I figured out.
You?
I was
Okay.
literally a click away before finding couples therapy. But as soon as I'm done with that, yeah, we're done. We're severing the relationship.
Do you have stars?
Fuck no. Why?
Yeah.
What is
See,
there to
I
watch on
wanted
Stars?
to do Stars just so I can watch a blind spotting series because I love the movie.
Oh yeah, you do love the movie.
Yeah, because you haven't seen it yet, right? I gave you the
no.
DVD, didn't I?
No, did you get me the
Did I?
DVD?
No, I think I gave you Turtles Can Fly.
Yeah, which I still have, by the way. I still need to watch that.
You gotta watch it,
haven't
man.
watched it
Watch
yet.
it with Caroline too.
Shit,
man.
you know what? And I heard that title somewhere recently.
Yeah, 'cause I
and
mentioned
was
it like
no,
two,
it wasn't you.
three.
It was
Oh.
from somebody else, something else completely. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta like the name sounded super familiar, and I was like, where the fuck do I know this movie from? And then as you just mentioned, I'm like, oh, shit.
it'll get you here, man.
Yeah.
Like it will, man.
Okay.
Watch it.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
DVD players are hard to come by these days, but fair enough. I've got one. It's fine. You know.
You got a VHS player too.
Yeah, because I'm trying. I went out to the middle of fucking bumfuck Virginia to buy a VHS player. Actually, it's a DVD player too, so I can't even.
Yeah, like,
I have and also,
Come on, man, get the fuck outta
And also,
here.
I have a PlayStation too, so I have no excuse.
God.
I have zero.
You can
excuses.
absolutely watch that movie,
Dude,
man.
let's
Come
get the
on,
fuck out
now.
of here, man.
Yeah.
We need to wrap this thing up. So Jon Snow's back for Game of Thrones. I don't know which streaming service I'm going to be cutting. Probably, maybe not. But it sounds crazy, right? It's like
It's been in your
can't
life
cut
so long.
Netflix. That's
You know, it's been your girl forever. That's your high school sweetheart.
You know, man, you can't cut her from the roster. You know,
You know, she was sending you in stuff in the mail back in the day, you know?
what are you talking about?
The mail-in service? Did you sign up after
Oh,
they
I
went
thought
all straight
I was
digital?
mixing up your metaphors. I didn't
come
know if you're talking about
Mail-in bride kinda
yeah, I
situation?
was
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
come
don't
on,
know
man.
who's sending me what in
I
the
am
mail.
not a
Eddie.
pervert.
I don't do those type of things. Okay. Anyways,
Where's Caroline from? I'm just kidding.
Jesus, yo, Caroline no longer likes you.
Nah, I love Caroline.
So let's get the fuck out of here, man. Great show. Appreciate you guys for listening. If indeed you have stuck with us this long, which we've been yammering for quite some time now. But yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same place, one way or another. With that, I think we will go ahead and hit the very usual protocol. Peace.
Was it that early? I can't really like.
You say it whenever it feels
Yeah,
right.
fade out.
Whenever the mood strikes, you weirdo.